are fake news.
Boom! Greetings and salutations. Beautiful people. This guy's flexing on everybody already. Welcome to the Midday Show. That right there is your boy Joey Options. They flipped the, see what they just did there? Assassino's playing with us right now. He's blocking me. He flipped it to the other side. Shout out to everybody, guys. We're playing around. All right, let's shout out everybody. What do we got? We got Jenny. We got Bobby. We got Ali as well. Shout out to Farm Trader and All Class Adam Duluth, baby. ADL. Let's get it, baby. We got Dangerous. We got Parabolic. How about Susie Fox, Jacques, we got Benton. Come on, you gunners. We got Bora, Pio, All Things Trump, and Nick. Shout out to Marcin N and Rev Boost. We got Jay Haas and Pillsbury. Bongzilla's bonking his way into the chat. We got Blue Arrow and Juan Padilla, the OG, Jake Roberts, Snake, like that one. Boom, right back at you, baby. We got Derek F, God, Emperor, Almighty, Forefather Trump. Bro, that is a mouthful right there. But it's fake news. I'm playing. We got, oh, come on now. I'm going to read that again. Aaron Edrogan, Johnny Fishbone, 70 Mustang. I like that. The Roaring Griffin. We got Adrian Diaz, Alex, Mr. Immortal. One more here. Steven Duran. Shout out to everybody. Good morning. Joseph, how was your weekend, brother?
Duran, it was good, man. It was a really good weekend. You know your boy likes the heat wave, so we were enjoying that most definitely. Other than that, how was your weekend? How was that nice?
It's good. Weaseled out to Calgary. Dealt with that side entrance that we talked about there. That's all done in gravy. So hopefully we can start getting some positive cash flow because we've been running at a loss for a long time.
Hey, man, it takes some time. You know how
it does, yes, sir.
Right. So eventually things will turn around. Yeah, guys. I mean, a pretty solid start this morning. Tesla was definitely the play of the day, so really good look there. RoboFleet coming up there yesterday, so some positive stuff. But we were long Bitcoin, guys, so enter right there. Boom, we add to the position, and then we slowly piece them out. And then I was just free rolling here. You guys know my methodology. I like to use my unrealized to add more shares into the position for a continuation of strength. But then it came against me, and unfortunately I did just get stopped out, break even there. But we're back in this, and this is slowly starting to cook up for us right here, guys. Maybe I'll take some off so you can see what I got going on from the position board, but I'm not going to take too much because I want to go and aim towards that high of the day. Bitcoin did tap below 100,000 over the weekend. I've seen it was like 99,000. I'm like, what kind of BS is this? But it is.
Tell them real, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. But it is what it is, guys. Yeah. Lots of things in play today. We got HIMS, Tesla, NVDA. We're going to talk about those strike prices later on in the day. But this is what we're cooking up so far, and that's going to be IBIT. Looking for a potential add opportunity at the retest of VWAP, and then maybe we can head towards that high of the day. We are still down about 1 1/4 there, Sharif.
All right, let's get to the trade that we've got on right now. It goes by IBO. So initially got in here at $1.43, wet the beak all the way up to 160. Alas, it is having trouble decidedly staying above that $1.50. Here it goes again with that $1.50. Now, it's got a $1.75 HOD, fantastic. Where is it relative to the pre-market high? Above pre-market high, check, fantastic. Is it above VWAP? Check on that one as well, fantastic. The issue is we don't always put in higher highs and higher lows. So right now, we have a higher low without a higher high. So I'm out of, I want to say, I think, 80% of the position. I don't know. I didn't do the percentage, but I've moved up my stop. Initially, we had that stop below the volume weighted average price. I've moved it up to a couple of cents above break even. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. It's got a topping tail into $1.60, which displeases me because the current candle has a lower high. But we'll see what we get, and we won't get upset. New position alert. Shout out to Katina. We're involved now in SY, okay? This one also kind of a small cap gapper. At the moment, it's got about 39% greenery here. We got, I think, 60s on right now. We just took 63s, layering at 64s. Same amount of shares we had with IBO. We're taking more shares now. I don't want to say large shares. because it's not large, but it's more than I'm typically taking. So we'll have many more outs on this bad boy, and we'll be able to manage the positions in the same way. So SY, small cap gapper, got a nice move up here, very respectful of the 10 exponential. I don't even see one breach, guys, of that 10 EMA on the 5 right now. This is what I'm looking at on my charts. Let me just weasel that in. Yeah, so this is the chart on SY. So if you can see a breach of the 10 there, let me know. I don't see a breach of the 10. Obviously, I don't like the topping tail into 175. Kind of the same thing we have with IBO. It topping tails into 175. So they both have a 175 HOD. Both IBO and SY, both $1.75 HOD. We'll see which one ends up doing a little bit better on the day. Shout out to the IBO champion.
Shout out to, ooh.
You know, that's exactly what I saw right there, IBO.
Did you see your boy?
I didn't watch anything.
Did you see your boy Canelo shoved
So I saw that there was a lot of heat going on there.
He gave him a little shove.
He gave him a little shove.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, I think.
Good. I want to get it heated.
To be honest with you, I think Crawford exposes Canelo. I don't know.
In a heartbeat, dude. Are you kidding me? Like we've talked about this.
Yeah,
it's not like I love Canelo, and shout out to all my Mexican American fans, and shout out to the. Your boy's gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, he's gonna get.
Your boy is gonna get destroyed. T. Crawford is the truth, man.
Yeah, he's the real truth. Yeah, seriously, guys, love fight game. But side note, so my favorite Mexican fighter is Julio Cesar Martinez. That guy's a beast. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's take a look at some of the top performing sectors this morning. Interesting one that we got going on. So consumer discretionary sitting in first place there, I think being led by the likes of Tesla. We can take a look at Amazon here momentarily as well. Communication service up about 0.5%, and then we got the tech sector as a whole up about 0.5% as well. Too there, guys. Consumer staples sitting in that third last. We're down about 0.2, just a little bit below that. Healthcare sector, we're down about 0.4, and then the energy sector, we're down about 1.15%. So yeah, taking a hit on the nose there is the energy sector. So yeah, really good look. Let's see what we got going on with IBIT. We're starting to slowly piece them out. I had actually two names on my list, and that was Tesla and Coin, but I seen that Bitcoin was setting up, and I like what I was seeing from a daily standpoint. So maybe we can get a continuation in strength. We did kind of form that double top, neck and shoulder, head and shoulder, type pattern. But we breached the neckline, but then we got a nice solid bounce, which was right around that $100,000 target. But now we're starting to get that rebound. Still negative on the day, but let's see what we got going on. We're seeing more adoption into Bitcoin, and I mentioned, you guys know where I stand on that. I'm curious as to why we're not consistently appreciating, considering everyone's buying this stuff hand over fist. But who knows? Only time will tell. I was listening to some analysts yesterday, and I can't pronounce his name correctly, but he said his top 40 performers leading up into 2030, and leading the way was going to be some of the Mag 7, with the exception of Google, Bitcoin hanging around some of the big boys. So a really good look on that front.
Bro, we're doing it freaking live. Look at the exits on this. I love SY. Go, SY, go. All right, Joseph, we're doing it freaking live. Up to $1.75 we go. This is the high of the day on SY. So a print above $1.75 takes us obviously into the new high of day. Let's go ahead and set up. We still got a couple of shares on, not exactly the biggest position in the world, but we'll manage it. Up into 177, 178, finding obviously some selling to be expected. When you weasel into that HOD, there's going to be umpteen amount of people looking to take profits. Get the hell out of there, ring the profit bell. Fake news. We'll keep an eye out on that one. We'll see if it wants to take out that $1.75. It's maintaining itself as the high of the day, but a nice move up here for your boy SY trading on the NQ. This one, though, is not trading on the NQ, so you got to have Amex permissions in order to weasel a trade on IBO. So this one just popped up again into that $1.60. Now I'm observing this one a little bit more. It looks like it is that $1.60 here that is preventing us from continuing to ascend. Alas, we take out that level as soon as I say it. Up 162 we go. We don't get filled. We're waiting, I believe, at 63. So we'll have to continue to pack our patience here. We've got 4 higher lows in a row. Since we moved into the 20 exponential on the 5 on IBO, that was a 1055 print. We've been putting in higher low, higher low, higher low. That's been uninterrupted for 4 5-minute candles in a row. Alas, we still haven't tested that $1.75 level on IBO. So packing my patience on this one, looking for a bigger move up. Let's talk about some other small cap gappers that have got on the watch list today. I don't want to say it's sparse in small cap gapper world, but fact of the matter is it's not exactly quadruple digit winner, triple digit winner day. There's only one triple digit winner, and you're looking right at her, baby. It's IBO. So we'll keep an eye on this one. It's the only one that I think is up over 100%. SY, as I mentioned, I was keeping an eye on LAB, but that just lost the volume weighted average price, so it's of no longer of interest to me. I've been looking a lot more at these ones that trade below VWAP to pick them up off key technical levels, but I just don't want to break my rules. That's the thing. LAB I like at $1.30, but it's below VWAP, so that would be breaking my rules. AIRO. This one's a bit more expensive, so you're going to have to ante up a little bit more here in order to weasel into AIRO, Joseph. But this thing closed out at $22.25 on Friday with a high today of give or take 27.5. It's been insanely respectful of the 10 EMA on the 5. When it pulled in here on a 2-candle basis at 11.05, it basically popped up $1.50 off that level. So a bit more expensive, but we'll keep tabs on it. Skin, SKIN as well, lightly traded today. Not exactly your volume winner. It's got a couple of bull flags under its belt. Looks like bull flag starting at 9:30. You get a consolidation here from 10:15 to about 10:35, and then bull flag number 2 breaks out 10:35 with a high of 188. Looks like we are in the middle of the consolidation right now on your skin. No, not your skin. On skin. SKYE as well. This is another small cap gapper-ish stock, up 40.25%. The only problem with this one is it's trading below the pre-market high. So that 825 pop got us into about 3 1/3. The best we could do during regular market hours is 318. I have a rule. I don't trade these below the pre-market high. Take it or leave it. So it's going to have to get above 335 for me to get involved. Last but not least, before we send you back to Joseph Wilson, GEOS. A little bit more expensive as well, 15, 16 bucks for small cap gappers. It's got a good pattern under its belt, mostly respectful of the 10 EMA on the 5. I will not be basing anything off the volume weighted average price. It did not respect it as a level of technical support on the way down. That means if it didn't do it once, why would I think it's going to do it the second time? So GEOS, I'll weasel in if it's warranted, but not off VWAP. Joseph, IBO is taking out all the levels over here. We are close to the high of the day. Let's wet the beak. Only 2 more outs on IBO, Joseph, so let's select them wisely.
Really good look there, Sharif. All right, guys, let's talk about this NVDA options chain activity. We were talking about it a lot last week, especially with how on Friday's expiration cycle and the concentration of open interest that we were seeing through certain strike prices. Now let's take a look. So this is my X post here that I posted on the 18th, guys, and I just want you to focus on the size at 145 and then the size at 150, and then I want to pull up the current cycle for this week, and I just want to show you guys, and what I explained multiple times is that now look at 145. It's relatively small. So what can this tell us? And then look at 150 as well too. So what can this tell us? Now we have more of the ability to follow the path of least resistance. That's why last week we had a really tough time cracking through 140 and then holding it and then trading higher. We kept rejecting 145. We did have a couple volatility spikes that allow us to absorb some, but then the hedgies just kept pushing price down because they don't want those short calls to finish in the money. That is bad, right? Because eventually you get assigned it, and that's not your objective for the market makers, right? You want to have those short calls expiring out of the money so you collect the premium. But now look at the concentration. It has now lifted a couple strike prices higher. So we've seen a high amount at 145. Now we're starting to see it around 147. And then max pain on the week might be around 155. What does this tell me? I'm bullish on NVDA this week, and we can see it throughout today's price action. It's holding up relatively well. We're starting to knock on the door of high 144s. Now I think at some point we are going to break 145, and then hopefully we get that magnet effect within NVDA that leads us to 155. Well, guess what? Where is 155 on NVDA? All-time highs, right? 153.50, roughly around those all-time highs. 155 would put us there, and what the options expiration cycle is telling us, there's a potential that we can head in that specific direction, Sharif. So I'm really interested to see what we get from NVDA this week. potential add opportunity here on IBIT, guys. You can see that we're just trading within this range. What do you want to do? You want to try to catch the lower end of the range, and that's going to help your risk to reward vastly, especially if you're adding into the position. So that's why I was patient. I did get stopped out break even on this trade because I was free rolling, just using unrealized gains to add more shares into the position. But now I was patient, wanted to catch the bottom of the range, allowed the underlying asset to form a base. You get in at the lower end of the range, and therefore your risk profile is defined, and you can take that move towards the top of the range. And if you get more, then that's bonus money, that's bonus cash. If you break through, sit on the backside of the downtrend, and then slowly start to appreciate in price. So that's what we got going on with NVDA. Before we send it back to my guy Sharif, let's take a look at, I don't know, I might call it Tesla. Tesla's on fire today. This might be the chosen one for the week here. This is going to be an in-play stock. I think when we see this types of strength, we've seen it in the likes of Coin last week, and then how Tesla started off Monday morning. I'm going to be looking for continuation in strength throughout this whole week on Tesla. But here it is. What do we see from an open interest standpoint? Where are those high concentrations? And to be honest with you, as we go up the options chain on the call side, there is nothing that doesn't have the ability to be absorbed. So I think that is an extremely bullish sign here in Tesla. And our guy Danny Ives said that Tesla can double in the next 10 days.
And you got to see all the finance bros that are short Tesla on Twitter panicking right now, putting all the videos of like the one video that I've seen where like the FSD actually made a bit of a mistake. It went in the left lane. Yeah, bro. They're like, trust me, bro. This technology's not ready. It's like, shut up and cover your shorts, bro. Just shut your mouth, man. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. In any event, Joseph, we're caught in a halt right now to the upside, baby, on IBO. This thing is up 386%. The halt time, 1:14:27. The current time on my atomic clock, 1:18:29. So we're a minute from the open over here. I got one out left right now on IBO. Going to pack my patience, see where this one wants to go. Maybe we get 500-600%. Shout out to my man, Nimrod.
I'm really rich.
You're really rich, Nimrod. 150 shekels, my man, from Israel. Covered small cap trading and time cycles. Noticed wild moves in the first 2 hours. Trends settle midday. Breakouts or reversals around 1:30 or 2. You're bang on with that, Nimrod. I'll get to that in a second. Heavy sell-off late day, then bounce near close. Post-market, absolutely accurate, Nimrod. You trade pre-market or just 1 hour, any timing tips. So I don't trade in the pre-market. The only time you see me trade is from 11 to 2. Those are my only trading hours. So that's number one. Number two, you're absolutely accurate, Nimrod, when you talk about the, okay, so I just have to pause for a second here because IBO is open. It is now a 182 high a day. Let's see, can we weasel up a little bit more? I'm going to pack my patience. Let's see where we can get. Maybe we can get into the 90s. If we dip down into 43s, I'll flatten out. But to cover your point, Nimrod, I have this trade for small cap gappers called a VWAP day high. A VWAP hold high of daybreak. Essentially, it comes down to this: a big mover during regular trading hours or even in the pre-market, and then it kind of does bupkis, nothing. In other words, for a couple of hours during the less liquid time of the day. I'm talking about 12 o'clock to about 2 o'clock, maybe even 1:30, and then at 1:30. 2 o'clock, when the volume starts picking back up, when people are back from their lunch times and the algos get turned back on, then you have a move off VWAP into the high of the day. So essentially what you do, you make a big move up, you straddle VWAP, you don't lose VWAP during that less liquid time of the day, and then as the liquidity picks up again during or towards the end of the trading day, you get an approach to the high of the day, maybe even a break. So your point very well taken there, my friend. I do agree with you on that. Now, there are different times of the day where you can trade these small cap gappers. For example, the pre-market, very well known for these small cap gappers, but as you mentioned, the aftermarket as well. Well, how come? Why is the aftermarket such an attractive time for these small cap gappers? It has to do with the halt parameters, volatility halt parameters, or lack thereof. What do I mean? What am I talking about? Well, if you move up 10%, I'm flattening out over here on IBO as we get into 190. Good, I'm happy with this trade. So as you get into that, what's it called? What was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. The 10%. If you move up 10% within 5 minutes, or move down for that matter, you get a volatility halt. Those volatility halts do not happen in the pre-market, aka before 9:30, and in the aftermarket, aka after 4 o'clock. Therefore, a lot of small cap traders who want to take advantage of these monster moves prefer to trade the small caps in the pre-market, and then the ones that were running strong into the close during regular trading hours will continue to trade into the aftermarket, but they'll even have more outsized moves, again, because of the lack of the halt parameter. So you bring up a really good point. Good observation from you, my man. Shout out to Nimrod. All right, we got another print here on SY. So we've got 2 more outs now. We're done our trade on IBO. Very happy with that trade. And I've got a couple of more beak wetters here on SY. Let's see how high we can get there. Joseph, we just tested the high day again at 178. So pack in my patience there. Shout out to the Roaring Griffin. This is for you, bro. Joseph, thank you, number one, obviously, for the Canadian money there, $5 Canadian. Joseph, you had mentioned in the past you had read roughly about 25 books. Yeah. Could you please recommend a good book on technical analysis? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll always recommend the For Dummies series. I think they're fantastic, and they're like textbooks too, right? You get multiple examples, and not only is it going to teach you a little bit about price action and market structure, but it'll bring you through a whole slew of indicators as well too. And we know when you're first starting off your trading journey, you experiment with indicators, and I think it's a good start, right? And as you get more experience, you'll realize that traders use less and less, but it's great to have a good understanding of what they are. So that's a really good one. Technical Analysis for Dummies is really good. And then we talk about Volume Price Analysis by Anna Cooling is a really, really good book. I suggest all traders to read that book. Again, Anna Cooling, very, very good read. It's interesting. It tells you a lot about volume price analysis, which is the correlation between volume and price. And from the point of me reading that book, and that was in the earlier stages of my trading career, I use that methodology every single day. There is not a trading session where I don't look at the correlation between volume and price. I think that is number one, but if you go with those two, you're gonna be well on your way and you're gonna be heading in that right direction, especially if you continuously put in that work. But Adara, what do you got for us?
Keep an eye here on the futures. Here's the Nasdaq. Iranian media reporting that a senior Iranian political source is saying that Iran is likely to attack U.S. military facilities in the coming hours. So more retaliation here as these ongoing geopolitical tensions unfortunately continue to heat up. Back to you.
Thank you very much. I just want to cover the super chat from your boy Nimrod again, dropping shekels in the chat. 30 shekels again. Thank you, Nimrod. Sharif, thanks. But my Semitic bro, you're the only one that pronounced my name right. Don't be affected by the North Americans. It's closer to Nimrod road than Nimrod. Ah, thank you. So Nimrod. Perfect, man. That's easy for me to. The road part, I think, is probably where I find it easiest, the best. Again, sorry about that, but thank you very much again for the super chat. Kind words from the OG Nimrod. All right, Joseph, we got one more out on your friend SY over here. This one took out the high of the day, so it's $1.79 high now. Keep your eye out on this one. We're going to set up likely in the 90s or high 80s on my friend SY. It's now up over 50%, zigging and zagging with that area. I'm done my trade on IBO. We're keeping a little bit in the tank here for SY. So the question is, Sharif, this is a 3-hour trading show. What's next? Well, that's a good question because I'm not seeing anything that fits my narrative right now, or that fits my style. I'm looking at WAI. It's a little light on volume. There's all those. Also, this one as well. GEOS. I mentioned it momentarily. It's right back at that 10 exponential. The only thing I don't like about GEOS is it's a little light on volume. So while we mull that over, we're going to send you to Dara, who's got more updates.
Fortunately, Sharif, I don't have a small cap gapper for you, but I do have one parabolic mover in its circle, CRCL. That is right. This name just made new all-time highs, just below $300 again. Just a few weeks ago here on June 5th, 2025, it did have its market debut via IPO, which was priced at, I guess, open there at $69. So from $69 to $300 in a matter of weeks, current high a day as far as I'm seeing here on E-Signal 298.78. One less expensive name, though, the Sharif, that might, I guess, tickle your fancy here. MBLY pushing you to the upside. Mobileye name trading around here $16. I'm not seeing any news on this, but could be one to watch. Back to you.
Mobilize a sympathy play with Tesla because of the robotaxi. It kind of only makes the only reason. And Adara, does it have its own independent headline? They don't have anything, confirms Adara. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just making the assumption it has something to do with the Tesla. Yeah. So did you watch any of those videos yesterday? Because they started coming out last night.
The robotaxi. I read a little bit about it, but I didn't see any.
You didn't see any of the videos?
No.
Yeah, people were taking like 15, 20-minute rides. Yeah. They're trying to engage the safety driver in conversations, maybe to get something out of it. The safety drivers are just super dry. You could tell they were kind of instructed, I'm just assuming, by Tesla not to really say anything. And a lot of them have their hand on the door. They're holding the door handle, so it's led to all these conspiracy theories that they're controlling the car from the door handle. It's like, guys, these things drive themselves anyway. They don't need the guy to sit there and keep his hand on the door. People will do anything once they're caught short.
Exactly.
Just cover your shorts.
That's the thing, right? Yeah, I mean, Sharif, it's going to be interesting. Looking forward to the coming days, especially with this robo fleet. But you can see the market starting to slowly react to maybe this Iran headline here. We're starting to pull in towards the volume-weighted average price. Double top on the Qs as well here too, guys. So keep that in mind. I'm all out of IBIT as it came back in. We couldn't crack that 58. With that being said, we'll take a look at that 58 strike price momentarily to see what we got going on. If there is a call wall and where are we going to be able to find a potential base there. But you can see 530 and change on the Qs bouncing right off of that, now heading towards the volume-weighted average price in the coming hour. So we're going to get it here. If we get that news that Iran has hit some missiles on the U.S. base, then yeah, the market is most definitely going to be tanked, guys. So be prepared for that. It's not going to be a good news whatsoever. So we're going to monitor that. Adara's going to bring us that as soon as she gets the ability or that headline drops there, guys. But let's take a look at the Qs and on IBIT to see what we got going on. Why are we continuously knocking on the door of 530? And why can't we breach that? I mean, if we were to look at everything from an open interest standpoint, nothing substantial there, right? So only about 6,600 current open contracts. But I mean, we have to roll out. Oh, this is 0 DTE. Sorry, guys. Let me switch this up. For this year, what is the June 26? What happened?
I almost punched into a position, and now it's 50 pennies higher.
Oh, no.
That's frustrating.
So there you go, 530, higher than what we're relatively seeing. You can see we only have a couple hundred here, a couple thousand here. So, yeah, there it is. Oh, sorry, I was looking at volume, but still 4,300, nothing substantial. 533 is where we have the most on this week's expiration cycle. I do expect that to slightly grow throughout the week, so keep an eye out on that. Bitcoin selling aggressively here. Risk off on this name, it's seeming to be the case. But there you go, Gorev. You're starting to get that indecision at the lows on AMD. So there it is. We like these hammer prints, Gorev. Nice look there. Let's see if you can get a bounce running into the opening price here of the session, so you can see right around that 129.50 level, bouncing potential double bottom. Let's see if these hammer candles hold up, and then you can get a bounce maybe back to VWAP. But just be cautious, because if that headline comes out, missiles have been now deployed, and now they've struck the U.S. military bases. Bad news for the market.
Yeah, that won't be a good look there.
At all.
Are you going to talk about the Russia comment, Adara?
Yeah, but I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Yeah, okay. Send it to Adara.
We done?
Trump here, I believe this is what Sharif is referring to by the Russian comment. We do have Donald Trump posting on Truth Social as we get a bit of a drop here in the market that I guess the former president of Russia is casually throwing around the world nuclear. Here, said Donald Trump, he basically said that he wants to know if that happens immediately. He just also here talking about how powerful U.S. military equipment is. It's a wide-ranging post here from President Donald Trump on Truth Social, just letting you guys know he did post. We did get a little bit of a push down here in the Qs, trying to bounce right now just below 528.50s, but not really able to reclaim 529 as of right now. Another post from Trump. Back to you.
Yeah, so that Medvedev guy, he had a quick stint as the Russian president before Vladimir Putin says, I want my job back.
Yeah.
And then just, change the constitution. And like, yeah, well, I'm going to stay here. So Yeah, so
he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. Yeah. So this guy was, I think, president for a minute, 2, 3, whatever it was. I think they're allies. I'm pretty sure Medvedev and Putin are, cut from the same cloth kind of thing. You can fact check me on that, chat. Maybe I'm wrong. In any event, I'm keeping my eye here on GEOS. This is the one I was telling Joseph kind of on the side there that I was looking at punching in at the 10 exponential, which was $15.50. And now it's gotten back up to 16. It feels like it might be a flat top break. There seems to be quite a bit of selling at 16 and has been for the better part now of half an hour. Since it worked its way up into around 16. High of the day, though, is this double top that we have just shy of 16 and a half, 16 OS. Yeah, I see it, Carney. Shout out to my man Carbon Tax Carney in the ring in the chat over there. Even though I'm pumped about Carney, but I'll leave that for the midday rant. In any event, yeah, this is what you're talking about here, Carney. GEOS. It feels good. The only issue with GEOS, to me anyway, I don't know how you feel, Carney, but it is a little bit light on volume. I'm seeing about 1 million shares on a $16-ish name, and now we're, almost half an hour to lunch. So we should be doing a little bit more, but it's okay. If the technical pattern continues to hold up, which is a defend of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, then light volume or not, we're going to try it. We're going to give this one the old college try. But it's dipping down right back into that level that I want to punch in at, which was $15.50. So it's not really giving you that $16 flat top break. I can give this the old college try here. Maybe give it to the break of 40s. Put your stop at $15.39. I don't know. I just feel like 16 is a bit of a thick level there, Joseph. I don't know. What are you looking at over there, my man? Yeah,
I'm still looking at this IBIT trade here, guys. We got an indecision print at the lows. So that's a nice hammer candle on the 1 minute, but just keep in mind, due to how volatile Bitcoin is, sometimes they're not as heavily respected. Even though we are getting a bounce, there is some selling pressure there that leaves me a little bit cautious on what's going on. So I'm going to be patient on that. Could be a liquidity grab. You can see that we have that big time base at 57.74, right? Liquidity grab, you get that whipsaw move, and then now you're slowly getting that rebound. But again, this base is really important. Let's see what we got going on from an open interest at 58 on IBIT, because we didn't get to take a look at that just yet. So I think this is going to be really important. So on this week's expiration cycle, there's nothing substantial there, guys. So this is a quite cool options activity. And the at-the-money IV is around only 38%. So, I mean, that's not horrible considering we've had a couple of down days in Bitcoin. So just keep that in mind. But what I'm seeing from a high level of OI is at that 60 strike price with only 9,200 contracts. That's nothing. Okay, I'll eat those words relatively quick because right at 65, we have 22,000. But 65 we'll take. And it's funny because that's where my strike prices are. I was going to exit the position this morning, especially because we broke that neckline, but we're starting to get that bounce. Maybe I'll add one more contract, but I also don't want to be too heavy because we are now dealing with options. And with that being said, we always have to monitor and be cautious of volatility, time decay, sorry. Steve Thielman and I were talking about it on Friday. It was actually really great to talk to him about some options. And he's like, just buy the time. And that's what I always kind of tell you guys is it's fun. The options premiums are attractive when you go a week out, a month out. You're like, wow, I can have the rights to 100 a stock for $1,000, for $1,700, but there's always a catch to that, all right? Just keep that in mind. You're already leveraging your system, and this is what I mentioned to Steve as well, too, and he agreed with me, is that you already have the ability of leveraging your system using your options because the premiums are going to be substantially less than just owning the shares. So you may as well spend that extra $500, $1,000 to buy the time because it's going to be well worth it instead of buying these 2 weeks out, 1 week out. If you don't get that move relatively quick, then the decay in your contracts is rapidly going to excel as you get closer to that expiration cycle. So that's why I'll always kind of be an advocate for someone who buy the time because you're already leveraging and it's worth it. So take the true advantage of options and just buy more time, spend those extra couple of dollars, and you're going to be well off in the long run there. Much better off in the long run, I should say, Sharif.
You're one of my old friends over here, IBO, it giveth and it also taketh away. Double top, boys and girls, at $1.95 right now. We are halted to the downside this time at $1.76. The theoretical auction price, the top, Now, this will not be accurate. Why? Remember we mentioned at the very top that IBO trades on the Amex. AM is the two-letter symbol there, so we won't have the theoretical auction price in the same way that we do for the Nasdaq stocks. We also suffer from the same affliction on the NYSE stocks and New York stocks. So this is showing $1.76. We'll have to see when, or sorry, not when, what this opens up at. The halt time, guys, 134.54. My atomic clock shows 136.40. So we're still a few minutes away from IBO opening. But I have found a new small cap gapper. It might not be the best of the bunch over here, but at least it gives us something to talk about and to possibly look at. Excuse me. TPET. Not the biggest volume mover, guys. I think we've got about 5.5 million shares on a $2 name. Not bad, not bad. It didn't really respect VWAP. So I don't really want to base anything off the volume weighted average price, but where I do see respect with TPET is either at the 10 or the 20 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. You'll see the outlying prints over here when it was trading below VWAP. It found support at the 20. Once it caught its footing under it, it's been finding support, what seems to be at the 10. So in case you're a newer viewer, the 20 EMA will always be yellow on my charts, and the 10 EMA will always be green. So it's finding some support there at around the 10 EMA, above $2 as we speak, 206, 207, with a high of the day at 220. So number one, can this hold up above $2? It doesn't seem to be, though, upon further analysis, at $2 trade, where, you know, $2 is that psychological support and resistance level. It doesn't seem to be interacting with 2 in that way. What it does seem to be interacting with are the exponential moving averages. So if that's my observation, that's what I'm going to base my trade on. Now, how do I weasel in? Well, the simplest way is to try to shadow where the 10 EMA is and try to pick it up off the bottom. Easier said than done, because these are dynamic levels, are constantly changing. So your price levels have to change along with them. So that's what I think I'm going to do right now. But look at SY Joseph Wilson. Boom!
Oh, right at the top.
Into the top we go on your friend SY. 194 out there. Big boy move here on SY, taking out levels. We're just south of that $2 area. Keep your eye out on this one. This has got now about 67% greenery today, so we'll keep an eye out on that in the same way we're keeping an eye out on IBO, sir.
Good look there, and nice out there on that trade. So yeah, there you go, nice one. I'm glad that you're still holding that. I was referring to that whipsaw move and maybe just a liquidity grab here in IBIT. So yeah, let's see what we got going on. I think it's going to be a patient grind. I'm just cautious of this news now, because if we hear about these strikes, the market's going to tank. So I want to be on that side of this. So maybe we can get into something before then. I mentioned that the market did double top, so just keep an eye out on that as well too. I was looking at HIMS, so a big move to the downside in HIMS, almost 30%. So really tough look. But if we pull it up here, more of a slow grind, and you can see that the volatility is most definitely kicked into this underlying. So you can see we're trading around 48, and then around these lows is a $5 move, right? So you got to be cautious. Be prepared that now that the average true range of the stock has vastly expanded, you need to just size accordingly and make sure you don't get too large, because you can get a $2, $3, $4 move against you just like that, all right? So just keep that in mind. Still south of the volume weighted average price, positive sign. Can it break through this key pivot? That's an isolated volume print right here outside of the opening drive. So again, you crack through that, then maybe there might be some more potential downside on HIMS. Let's take a look at it from a daily perspective as well too here, guys. So, oh my days, what a massive gap down. So yeah, I hope Steve Thielman got out of that, because he was using HIMS Z, which is 2x leverage. So if you're seeing a 30% drawdown in HIMS itself, that's 60% to the downside in those 2x leverage. So just be cautious, guys. Make sure you have stops in place, and hopefully you have the ability to get out of these trades when you're supposed to. Man, I think I messed up this morning a little bit. I took Tylenol. I took a Tylenol this morning, but I think I took Tylenol the PMs. So it gives you the drowsy. I'm like, man, I'm struggling here for some reason, and that's what it was.
How would, like, they usually brand it, do they not, between AM and PM? So like, did you?
So
I'm curious to what happened here.
No, so I had 2 of them in the cupboard. I'm pretty sure I grabbed the wrong one. boom, threw it back, and then, yeah.
Were you
Okay,
still
that
getting
makes
out of bed at that point? Were you still sleeping?
Yeah, so I took them before I went to the gym this morning, and then, yeah, they started really hitting me early. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Do they, they just put the Benadryl in those ones, right? It's just
Well,
Benadryl.
I don't know what the difference is. I like the Dayquil, NyQuil, and ZQuil. I like that, but I'm more into that family. And really fun fact, if you want to like go to sleep well, but then also wake up early without drowsiness, not doctor recommended, I'm sure, but if you take ZQuil, which is like the non-medicinal one, if you take like 3/4 half dose of ZQuil before bed, you're gonna wake up early, you're gonna feel refreshed. Don't do it a lot because you're not getting that much sleep, but fun fact.
All right.
Fun fact, yeah. Now
I appreciate that. No, and she knows what she's talking about too, because, well,
exactly.
Yeah. So keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, exactly. What do you got going on?
I was just about to punch into IBO, like a psycho, Joe, because we just dropped aggressively from 195 high a day that we just printed in 1 second ago, and now we are halted down on my friend IBO. But I gotta tell you, I've seen this story before on IBO. And the story is it's been holding the 20 exponential moving average and has been basically since the morning, since 7:45. I don't see one closing print south of that yellow line on my black chart today on IBO. And that's exactly where it's halted right now. So just to give exact numbers here, exponential on the 5 is at 158. We are halted at 159 to the downside. So I'm gonna pack my patience. Now, if this opens up and gaps obscenely high and gets away from that $1.60, $1.59, well then, obviously I didn't execute properly punching in before it halted. But if it hangs around that 20 exponential for a few seconds, gives me an opportunity to punch in at around the 20, I'm gonna get long IBO again on this one. It's a $1.95 high a day. Now, obviously, not obviously, but let me make my case here. So this is a bit of an issue. If I'm basing my entries and exits on these technical levels, specifically the moving averages, it gets to be pretty precarious for me when the 20 and the 10, for that matter, start getting away or moving away, getting farther away from the volume weighted average price. I say that for a couple of reasons. One, I use VWAP or the price action relative to VWAP to kind of gauge whether we're extended or we're trading within an appropriate range. But also for my outs, if we lose the 20, there's a large chasm between where the 20 is on the 5 and where VWAP is. So I really don't have any technical areas to put my stop. It's gonna have to be willy-nilly. Now, having said that, let me caveat my statement by making this observation that we seem to have an area trough over here that I can use as a technical level. So if that, say, for example, $1.60, $1.59, whatever, where the 20 is, it gives up, and then I have to give this all the way down to $1.25 where VWAP is, well, not necessarily. I have another price action area over here that was formerly support, which could act again as support. So this $1.39, maybe $1.40, could be my area out, and that gives me about a 20 penny risk, maybe a little bit less on IBO. So we'll keep tabs on IBO and see what this one does. TPET continuing to put in higher highs and higher lows. You're not getting that parabolic kind of effect on TPET like we may be getting on some others. Let me give you the information on this one since we have a hot second. It's about 7.1 million share float, and this is not bad, ladies and gentlemen. The short float here, 9.69er.
You are fake news.
Percent float is board short here, Joseph. So about a little bit less than 10% of TEPET borrowed for short. Again, you got both things working for you here in the sense that you have a smaller float, 7.1 million shares, and then you have a bit of a larger-ish short float just south of 10%. So TPET got some of the ingredients over here to get parabolic. Speaking of ingredients, you're going to be happy to know that the ingredients for my very I don't know. I guess they were popular at one point. My protein snacks. I've given you one of those. Got the ingredients.
Okay.
Shopping yesterday.
All right, so bang,
they're going to get made tonight.
All right.
And they will be distributed equitably, as they always have. We'll bring some for yourself, for my boy Neil. Bring some for Adara. We won't bring any for Ram, of course. But Assassino will get some because we want to protect ourselves.
Look, you can see Ramin's. Yeah, we want to protect ourselves. You see Ramin's booster juice right there. I had
Is that Mark's or Ramin?
I think it's Ramin's.
Is that yours, Ram? Booster juice?
Yeah.
It's not good?
I don't know.
She doesn't know what it is.
Oh, Derek got it for you, right?
Someone just gave it to you off the street randomly? Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't know we
You
were
heard that,
moving,
Joseph?
I didn't know we were just handing out
that,
boosters. I didn't know we were just handing out booster juice like that.
Well, she didn't seem to, have any qualms with random strangers giving her booster juice on
Hey
the
man,
street.
take it. Yeah, be careful. You don't know what booster. You
Her
don't know
friends hate it when she
You don't know what you don't know what boosters in there. I mean, so just yeah.
Is it illegal on this side of the border?
Probably, but maybe not in the over there in our good friendly province of British Columbia.
Well, everything's legal over there.
You know what I mean? So shout out to all the West Coast folks. There we go, guys. Fun talks as always. Holding up here. We're holding up this level relatively well. The thing is, though, we're forming those consistent lower highs. You can see the downtrend on the 5-minute. So that's something that we have to be cautious about and keep an eye out on it. Are we going to break through this? Until otherwise, suspect that we're going to continue this downward movement here in Bitcoin. So that's the look there. We still got Tesla hovering around the highs, which is holding up relatively strong, guys. So a big time move. I heard Katina Man was $20 in the money at one point.
Ridiculous.
We're up 10%. I mentioned earlier that our guy Danny Ives thinks that Tesla can double within a span of 2 trading weeks, which is absolutely insane. That's some big boy stuff there. And you heard, we always talk about it all the time. The market is forward looking. So if this is really big, if this is a massive catalyst here for Tesla, can they catch up to Waymo? I mean, I think so. I think that just the ability for growth and to expand is in Tesla's favor. But the rollout, they're slightly behind, but I think they do have the ability to catch up. So that's going to be very interesting to see. But here we go. Heading towards, this is going to be a massive pivot that we're going to experience at 366 on Tesla. But with this momentum, we've seen it in the likes of coin on that with the stable coin news, right? USDC. Now that we have a massive strong day here in Tesla up 10%, I'm going to be looking for the continuation and strength throughout the week, and that's going to be the game plan. It may not come into play tomorrow, but just keep an eye on it because at some point I do believe that Tesla is going to continue this this trajectory and this upward momentum there, Sharif.
Joseph, I missed it. IBO, so as I kind of mentioned, it holds like a glove at the 20. I should have put a market on open order for this one or a limit on open. I don't have to have market. It was you could use limit on open. What we're talking about there, guys, and I think Joseph and I have used these terms before, especially with IPO season. So when you're looking at trading something that isn't trading at the moment, whether it's because it's an IPO and it still hasn't launched, or whether it's a halted stock like the one. You can use these types of orders. Now, your brokerage has to have them. They're called market on open or limit on open or market on close or limit on close. The point of this is to tell you or to tell the computer when the stock opens up, get in. So, for example, right now, when IBO was halted, if I was to sign a regular order using our platform, it wouldn't allow the order in. I need to use a special type of order to tell the computer, to tell the broker when the stock is open, pay up to this or market in. So the market on open here tells the computer, pay whatever the market price is, just get me the hell in. And the limit on open says, once the stock is open, pay up to this price. I personally would use a limit on open so I can limit the price so you don't get marketed in for something ridiculous. But that's basically what we're talking about when we say market on open or limit on open or anything like that. That's kind of what we're talking about there. So IBIO, this one, it holds up right at the 20 as it had before and pops back up, another 15 pennies, and we'll see whether this is going to continue to go. It's a $1.95 high. We have a higher low on this current candle, so we'll pack our patience and see what we get there. Now, I weaseled in also to SY, got in at 80, wet the beak at 83, but it's dipping down into 75. So I've given this a super tight stop here on SY. It's going to have to hold the 10. Otherwise, I want no smoke with this one. So we'll see if we can kind of move up as this one got right back into the 10 as well. Scott H., small cap gapper trader extraordinaire, bring into my attention one that Neil had brought to our attention this morning. INDO makes absolute sense why someone would be looking on or at INDO on the day. Reason is this is an oil name. Obviously, with the Iranian parliament approving the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. This should be on watch. Now, whether they follow through on that or whether, other countries respond and put pressure, whatever, bro. The point is, this is in focus today, and it gapped up quite aggressively there at 4 a.m., got to about 7.25, and then it popped up even more. Right at 9:30, the implied balance high is the actual high of the day. That's 795, but it lost. It lost the bid quite aggressively and quite quickly. As quickly as we made that 795 high, as quickly as we found ourselves down trying to defend $6. But $6 was the pre-market area high, and it has been used during regular trading hours as a good area low. Alas, we held 6. 6 is a distant dream. We're at 680 right now. Now, what's the move here? We're at the volume weighted average price. We got a couple of candles that have weaseled above VWAP, but this one to me might be a thick trade. I don't know if I'm going to get into this one. I want to point it out for you guys. INDO's up 35%, a little bit less. It's a small cap gapper. It's under 100 million market cap. So done about 25 million shares on the day, give or take. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. It still hasn't earned its way onto the side chart, but Lab is breaking down. So INDO will replace LAB on that one, and we will replace it on the watch list as well, Joseph, because, well, Lab was doing bupkis. So we'll keep tabs on that. Still involved here in SY. Very small position. Look at IBO go. This was absolute money off the 20. I didn't get into that. I feel very silly having called it out and not punched back in. But the 20 exponential moving average is absolute money today on IBO, as this one works right back in close to the high day. About 9 pennies off that HOD right now. IBO looking to take that 195 high of day. I see you, Tisha. What a curl it was. And Tisha, I mean, I'm sure you use these moving averages as well. Most small cap traders do. But what a hold off the 20 there. I don't know if you were looking at the same thing I was looking at, Tisha, but shout out to you. Absolutely big move today on IBO. Big
time, Sharif. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of these bigger names. We know what happened with Google and the likes of Friday, security breach. Not a good sign there. Neil and I were talking about this. You essentially want to buy the dip here at some point, but just be patient, wait for some indecision at these lows, and then you might have the ability to hop in. But right now, bearish price action, not something that you want to necessarily be grabbing just yet. Slowly start to allocate if you're looking to get involved in some of these names, right? You don't want to go 100% at a time. You go 15%, all right, we grab a little bit more. Okay, it looks a little bit better. We add another 20% of what we're looking to risk totally, and then slowly start to allocate and then build into the position that you want to and size that you want to. But I'm looking at Google and Amazon as well too, guys, so keep an eye out on these couple names. See, that's the thing. I wanted to grab some around 197, but now we're trading around 209. So I want to wait for a pullback, a nice healthy pullback here, and then maybe we can get involved in this, just start grabbing some shares. So that's the look on Amazon and on Google. So we'll pull up iBit here, even though this isn't necessarily the best way to gauge it, but you can see that we have now breached this neckline and holding below this. This is kind of what I'm worried about here, guys, is just this double top. But again, you just go on such a nice run from these lows all the way up to these highs here. So around 47%. It's a big time move, and this is what I'm referring to. You want to see more healthy pullbacks. This can be one of them, and then we start to appreciate in price once again. So wait for any forms of indecision around these lows, and then you can start to grab some. And it's the same thing with the likes with the overall market, right? Again, to me, this PA is so suspect. It's not even funny. At some point, we are going to get that pullback, maybe 5 or 10% near the highs here. We were only about 1.5% off of the previous all-time highs. So at some point we do get a pullback. They're not going to allow it to be that easy, but we will get that push. Open interest on NVDA promising. We have the 145 strikes now being lifted from an OI standpoint to 147 and to 155, opposed to where it was sitting before around 145 and then 150. So some positive sentiment there coming from the options market. Just have to be patient to see what price action is telling you, and maybe you can look to participate on that front. But with Tesla still consolidating around these highs, very important here, guys, because if you're looking for the continuation of this intraday trend, you don't want to be punching at the top end of the range. Wait to get in at those lows where we're currently trading at, and then maybe you'll get that continuation and that big time second leg here in Tesla. It's looking like it right now. They're holding 351 relatively steady here, so there might be an opportunity to get involved with Tesla for that push of the high of the day and the breach of it there, brother. So that's my look on some of those big names. I like Tesla, I like NVDA, and I want to see what the overall market is doing.
What a big move here for INDO. Shout out to Scott H for calling this out, man. Not only did it take out VWAP and by extension of that 6 3/4, but it just whooped through 7. Double top though, Scott. Here it looks like there's a seller at 707. Kind of a random area to have a seller, but you have 2 candles, both on the 5-minute chart, that do reject that 707 area. Let's see if it comes back down VWAP, Scott, and then holds VWAP here. I want to say it's been marginally respectful of VWAP on the day. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what the price action has been, whether it's been, psychological area like that 6 hold that we talked about, 6 as a resistance in the pre-market, then as support after the bell, or whether it's going to respect these indicators. So I'm going to keep my eye here on INDO. It's one that we've traded before and one that has a theme that's certainly in play today with oil. Again, this one, like IBO, trades on the MX. So if you don't have permissions or data access to the to .am, you got to weasel some of that access before you get in. But there are certain nuances with these ones. Sometimes there can be bamboozling price action on the MX. In addition to the bamboozling price action, you don't also get the TAP, the theoretical auction price, on any volatility hold. So you need to just know some of the nuances with trading different gateways, different exchanges. This one certainly is got that as well. So keep your eye out on that. I'm watching Indo here on the trading screen, trying to decide whether I want to take a dip below 7 for a move above that 707 previous area high, or whether I want to wait for that volume weighted average price to get retested again. Currently on my chart, it's showing me around 680. I don't really know how to enter this trade. I got to tell you the truth. I always struggle when a stock has been trading below VWAP for a prolonged time, gets back above VWAP, and I'm having trouble deciding whether it's a failed break through a technical lever or whether this is a big move up. I always struggle with these ones, so I'm going to pack my patience, and if that means I miss out on the trade, I miss out on the trade.
Yeah, exactly. Just wait for your setup there, right? Don't get that FOMO or anything or chase, and I think that's big. That's really important to trading as well, too, guys. So we talk about it all the time. It's just be patient, don't chase, don't feel FOMO. There's always going to be another opportunity, and you don't want to waste all your ammunition on something that isn't your 100% setup and just trying to force something that may not work, because unfortunately we have no control over what the stock market does. But yeah, Tesla, I really want to get involved at these lows here, so I got to wait for another pullback. This consolidation is looking really intriguing to me. So
it's lunchtime, Joe. It's time to shut down.
Yeah, we got to shut it down. It is lunchtime, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that chicken there. But hey, we're gonna fire that down. Hit the barbecue nice yesterday. It was a every day, brother. Every day we're cooking. Every day we're chefing up on the.
He's got a barbecue allowance at his condo. The dinosaurs at my condo, they don't want any of that smoke.
Yeah.
Brendo's got one as well. He's got a gas line.
He's got the gas line. I'm on the Pro though.
You're on the Pro? Okay, well at least you get that.
Yeah.
They'll just basically kill you.
Oh yeah, we were chefing up yesterday.
Oh
Good stuff. I love cooking on the barbecue. Nothing better than some nice grilled
Who's going to complain about that? Guys, just to throw some context, we're going to go to that Darren happening now in a second, but it's 36 degrees today, right, in Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's not about the headline number, Joseph. Just like that inflation print, bro. The headline number is not all the story. You got to look at the core. The humidity is prohibitive. It's going to feel over 40-something degrees today. I just went out for a walk, and I went out for a walk like in the.
It was leaking.
Bro, I'm sweating in my work clothes. This is embarrassing.
Saturday morning, I went to the outdoor workout gym, 8:30, 29 degrees.
Crazy.
Already, and I just stepped outside and I was already dripping sweat. I'm like, yeah, this is my territory.
He loves it. All right, Adara, thumbs up or thumbs down to this weather?
It will be a massive thumbs down for me, Sharif. I am from Winnipeg. I do not love this humidity, and I also do not love the heating cooling situation at my place. Let's take a look here at this market, but first let's take a look at TSLA. We actually just got kind of an odd comment from the company. Tesla saying that, I guess apparently their answers to questions about safety of the robotaxi deployment in Texas to U.S. regulators should not be made public. So they're basically arguing that for whatever reason, it's kind of unclear at this time, I guess their answers to questions regarding how safe this robotaxi deployment is should not be made public. We're going to have to wait and see what happens there. We've already previously heard that they do not want to publicize their responses to the NHTSA. So I guess that's quickly an update on that. Let's take a look here at the market here. Nasdaq, a little bit of a double top here around 529, pushing lower. And as I speak, we're pushing into low of day. Tons of updates here in the geopolitical situation. Iran said they're looking to retaliate here against the U.S. Right now, though, let's see if we actually get this push into the low or a bit of a double bottom, because right now we're trying to bounce. Here is Coinbase, COIN. This one pushing here below 305 is actually below VWAP as Circle, which is, I guess, sort of its pal in the stablecoin catalyst, tries to break lower a bit as well. It double tops just below $300 and cracks below. Could this be the end of Circle's parabolic rally? Only time will tell. Circle is still above VWAP. Back to you. Neil in his lesson of the day.
Is it though? Lesson of the day, everybody. Sometimes you just got to flip the script and switch things up. And it's more art than science, because a lot of times you're just flat out as a trader going to have a bias in a certain direction. Maybe it's a news story. Like if you like robotaxi, you're long in Tesla. But if you look in the geopolitical news, you were probably like me thinking long on Indo. And ultimately, it was a good breakout, no questions asked. I mean, I didn't have the breakout, so once it happened, I was looking for the dip buy. But something interesting happened when President Trump basically said, keep oil prices down. It flipped things in a minute. And you have to consider, like, if my bias is to the long side, if we can come to the chart, like I missed the break. I didn't put the order in there. I'll let you guys know. I mean, candidly speaking, when we were doing the morning show before the open, I try to go to the bathroom before the open, then I canceled my breakout trade, came back, sat down, and we'd already broken out. So at that point, I'm looking for the after the open trade, and I play the dip back into VWAP, but I'm out before it even breaks the prior high. Now, usually, if I'm taking this long, anyone that watches the show knows wholeheartedly that I'm either getting it under VWAP or underneath the prior high. That's just how I roll. But this out was a flat out punch out because of what President Trump said. And whether or not it moves the stock, it doesn't really matter. I just know that something has changed. It's on the back end anyways, and now I want to flip. And in all that time, these are 3-minute candles. There's a 3-minute candle rejecting the volume weighted average price. I saw this, realized I didn't have locates, went ahead and paid for my locates, still had time, got it under VWAP, saw it wick VWAP again, so it tried to run the volume weighted average price, doesn't break my stop, which oddly enough, this is where I got out punching out. Love that it's the same price. Gave me that other ad into VWAP, and then you get the flush. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky, because I should be long this right now. It plays both ways, everybody. You just had news about possible like retaliations and what that might look like. You've had more negative stories coming out of the Middle East, and Indo pulls will move back to the upside. Now, it clearly broke trend a long time ago, and this consolidation off VWAP is another place to flip. And the crazy thing about this is where we get out on the news. We short to the same level. Look where the breakout happens above VWAP, at the same price. Now, that's what we call confluence. That's why I'm saying I should be in it. It's not only that it reversed, it's also at the same price. And you have to have that ability to go in the other direction. If you just only have a bias into one way, things can change and you'll find yourself in trouble. I'll give you an example, Coinbase. I have one Circle trade, but I was basically playing this weird catch-up game with Coinbase as Circle was going up. So I'd watch Circle break, and if Circle broke, I'd punch in long and scalp Coinbase. Some muted success, like in, out, and then the last one a loser. But Circle loses, Coinbase loses VWAP, not Circle, as Circle is playing off the 300 high. So what do? I see Circle pulling back, Coinbase under VWAP, I take the breakdown. I was bullish on it, but It's been trending down since the high, and I see Circle pulling back a bit. It's relatively weak compared to Circle. It was down on the day, relative to Circle being up a bajillion. So I went into the short. Be willing to flip things up. Maybe it's news that caused you to change your opinion on something, or you could just be listening to the price action, see something is relatively weak, see that it's not behaving the way that it used to relative to maybe an index, or in this case, coin and Circle not being correlated that well today, making coin relatively weak. Could just be technical, breaking down under VWAP. Whatever it might be, you got to listen to the price action. That said, and I'm going to go back over to INDO, a lot of traders be like, oh, you can't go from long to short to long. It's going to do 30 million shares. It's done almost 30 million shares. We're halfway through the day. This is a particular case where I think if you're an active trader, yeah, it was a long early, it was a short, and then it was back to a long. The only reason why you can't just flip willy-nilly is you've got to find a good entry point and a rule to do so. I'm not mad that I'm not long here. Not even mad that I'm not long here. This is the place where I know I should be when it's breaking out the level that I was already interested in. And it confirmed a flip at my price level. That gives you that extra confidence, that extra oomph, knowing that above that price is significant and underneath it would be showing some weakness. So it's not about finding every single place to flip. But if you have a good reason like news and you've got a good level, then it should be in your repertoire to get out one direction and go in the other. You never want to get completely trapped by your bias as a trader because the price action is always right, not you. And you know what? There's a good quote. I'm going to end it with this. Your lesson of the day will be ended by a quote from Luca. Do you want to be right or do you want to make money? It's that simple. Good luck, everybody.
Don't be. I'm really rich.
Shout out to Luca, man. Shout out to you guys know us as the Bash Bros. They used to call us the Spro Bros because you know he's Italian. He needs a Spro halfway through the show, guys. You know, because that's kind of what they do over there.
Ramin's got a lot going on back there.
You all right there, Ram?
Are you channeling?
You hit your head?
Yeah, you're channeling your inner mechanic.
I don't know, bro. I don't know what she's doing.
Is that your chocolate bar in the fridge, Ramin?
I told you, bro, any chocolate bars with Arabic writing, you go right to Ram, bro.
Ramin, yeah, just watch out for those in there.
All right, guys, what's going on over here? INDO is on that good stuff, taking out levels. It has exceeded that 7.5. I'm like a schmuck over here waiting at 7-11, literally at the price 7-11. Yeah, I know, Dara, not the SEV the way you know it, but the actual price action or the price level, excuse me, 7-11. I was looking for a 707 dip because that's where we had initial resistance. This thing is really getting away now. INDO is on that good stuff, above 50%. It's still south though of that intraday high, which was 795. That's the high of the day, excuse me. It was a topping tail candle, I want to say right at the open, right at 930. So that is the implied balance high as well as being the day high. So right now it took out 7.5. I was of the opinion and of the bias that we would have trouble with 7.5, only because look at this double top over here right at the open. Sure, we got the closing prints do go above 7.5. They go 753. But the closing print and the opening print are like 1 or 2 pennies away from that 7.5 for both these candles over here. So I just had a bias that 7.5 was a technical area of resistance. It doesn't seem that way though. It seems like the buyers are really pushing this one higher, and this could be a squeeze. INDO, we gave you before we went the short float about 5.8%. It's not the biggest in the world, but it's got a smaller float as well as having, you know, a decent short float, about 11.13 million shares. So I'm not really sure how to execute on this. You know, I was telling Joseph while Neil was doing his lesson of the day, I struggle with trying to identify micro pullbacks on breakouts as versus all-out reversals. That's where I struggle, and I think I struggle with that because I don't have objective criteria off which to analyze it. That's what I'm lacking. And I need something there objective. So even if it's wrong, at least it sets a standard for me off which I can base my data. And that's what I'm lacking right now. Watching the price action pull back, I don't have objective criteria to kind of discern whether it's a micro pullback or a larger retracement in general. So that's my issue, not yours. we'll keep an eye out here on INDOs, zigs and zags. Just got to about 7, just a little bit less than 7 3/4, pulling back into about 7 and 2/3 right now. Let's see what it does with 7.5. As we mentioned, I had a bit of a bias that 7.5 was resistance. We're well above it right now, so we'll keep tabs on that. Scott H telling me to keep an eye out on HUSA as well, HUSA. Let's just look at that quickly on the side chart. Yeah, it's still below the high though, 25.56. But shout out to Scott, another name there that's a former runner, and another name that's obviously energy related. Houston American Energy is the name of the ticker, HUSA. Joseph.
Good look there. All right, guys. So Bitcoin is starting to continue to, is continuing to the downside. So not the best look that we're experiencing. I think we popped into 58, but now we're about close to $1 south of that. So not a good look here in Bitcoin, especially if it cracks through this low of the this low of the day. Then not a good look, especially for your boys' contract. So what do you say? I got to read this first. I'm happy. Okay.
Fake news.
I set up for
Fake news. Come on, Big Spile.
Lex is going over big. Some comments on doing some.
What's he doing now, man?
I don't know if I can read this.
Well, what is it? It's unbelievable. We need someone to read all his messages
I don't know.
before
I need confirmation from production to make sure I can read this aloud. So, but yeah, thank you as always. There.
Get it, Big Spile.
Okay, I'll read some of it. I'm happy to report that the something page I set up for Sharif from IG Story Thirst Trap Pictures now has many likes. It is going over big some comments on doing some leg work. There you go.
Oh, bro, trust me. Are you trying to insinuate the legs? Is that what's going on over there?
Don't get it twisted.
Yo, bro. You know, you don't even want me standing up there.
Ooh, we don't want the quad. We the Quadzilla.
It's like literally my strongest feature.
Quadzilla.
Literally. Like, I'm far away. But yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Funny stuff. All right, guys, Tesla, it's on its own war path today, guys, moving up towards that high of the day, up 10.5% here. You can see that it held those base lows relatively well. If you had the ability to catch the lower end of the range, that's what you're looking for, opposed to just catching the breakout up here when we're slightly extended, but a really good look. 357.50 is going to be that key pivot. I'm curious to know if Katina Man's still
What's
sitting
he doing
in this,
over there?
and if he's reloaded. But yeah, really good look. Potential second leg that we're experiencing here in TSLA. But also we're seeing a bull flag pattern being formed on NVDA as well too here, guys. So this is a nice consolidation, and you can see around that 143.50 level. Excuse me, we're holding that base nice and strong. So that's some key support right above the volume weighted average price. I'm going to be looking to get in on the lower end of the range, and then hopefully you can get that move back towards the top end of the range. And if you breach the high of the day, then that's bonus cash, all right? So lower end of the range, look for the top end of the range, take some off, leave a little bit of a runner for the breach of the high of the day, and then boom, you're sitting on some nice cash. Haven't hit this one in a while, potential money storm. But today's been decent for us. Bitcoin's move earlier in the day, really nice, so keeping us nice and steady green.
Sorry, just give me a second, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Gorb and I were talking in the chat. I'm waiting for this news too, just in case it does come out extremely negative and tank the market. But again, holding VWAP, the SPY is south of the volume weighted average price. XLE relatively weak. But let's take a look at XLF to see what I got. I heard Katina Man talking about JPM, probably one of my favorite stocks here. But XLF slightly weak here on the day. I mean, this is nothing crazy. 50, 51, and then we're now down at like 50. So we won't cry home about that or anything. Let's see what we got going on from a daily standpoint. Ooh, consistent lower highs. Not something that we want to see necessarily, but be patient. Base is holding up well. If you do break through some of these support levels, look for the indecision. It's the same narrative all the time. This is our job. Find a system that's repeatable. Look at price action prints, pattern recognition, and then continuously hammer those trades when they display themselves, all right? Sometimes you need to be more patient, especially in the likes of swing trading. I'm more than happy sitting on cash or sitting in some holding positions longer in my swing trading just to look for those higher quality setups. Is Bitcoin working out how I want it to? Absolutely not, but I have no issues getting out when I'm supposed to. And that's what's going to happen, all right? So that's what we got going on. Wait for these pullback, wait for the break of the lows, and then indecision south of that, I think you'll find good bounce opportunity.
All right, Indo is at a critical moment right now, I think, in the intraday price action. Huge move up into 775 and another huge move right back down into 7. It's at the 10 exponential now with the volume weighted average price not much lower at around 688. I've put my out below the VWAP. I won't trade this below VWAP. We got 15s right now. It's showing me 7s. So this is either going to make or break to the upside or downside. I don't think we consolidate right now on INDO, not given how we've been trading with today's price action. So let's see if it does dip down and stop me out at 688. It's having trouble, though, clearing above 7. It was above 7 briefly, got up to about 711, 710, and then was met with even more aggressive selling. So right now, above the 10 EM, above VWAP, but that's not really a glowing endorsement for a long at the moment. Right back into 704. The shorts are coming out in spades right now. Look at that seller at 704. Anteing up and adding more to their selling position. You can see that reflected on the gateway as more lottage comes on the posted gateway. And that's only what we can see. It's about what we can't see that sometimes gets us into trouble. 707 now, so we've worked our way back above 7 for the moment. Still out of the money. We got 15s on. Can we go back in and maybe test that 795 high? Right back below 7 we go. So INDO, all sorts of insane price action right now. Let's see which way this cookie crumbles. I'm also keeping an eye out on SKIN, but that one is a bit more dead for the moment. It's TPET. Do I have this loaded up on a trading screen here? TPET is the one I'm talking about. I do not actually have it on a trading screen, so let me show it to you on my side chart over here. Fantastic look for TPET. It was a little light on volume, especially during, the earlier part of the show, and that had me a little bit suspicious about this one, but the volume, as you can see there, started increasing, nicely, about 500,000, maybe 300,000 shares per 5-minute candle. Not a bad look. We just printed the high of the day at 225 right now on TPET. So this one's continuing to go. If I really had to take my guess, the 10 exponential's been absolute money, with the money fills being somewhere between the 10 and the 20. So TPET will certainly be in focus for me if it continues to trade in this fashion. But the one that I'm involved in right now, INDO, holding up at 7. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about this one. And your stop placement goes where it goes, right? I mean, if you get stop hunted, you get stop hunted. But I'm not going to keep DCAing to no end into this name and then, maybe catch a move back up, maybe not, and then ends up, giving back the entire day. So I'd rather just get stopped out, take a bit of a loss on this one if it continues to head down. But it's so indecisive right now. A little above 7, a little bit below 7. INDO is what I'm talking about. Scott H says, INDO, perfect cup and handle on the 3-minute chart. We'll see, Scott. I see what you're saying. I just don't like that monster retracement off that 775 high. We do seem to be getting some buying at 7, but for how long, right? It feels like maybe the shorts could be in control at the moment. I'm going to pack my patience. If we can get above 7, maybe into that 7.25, we'll wet the beak at around 7.25 for a 10-penny winner. We got 15 on right now, so we're 10 pennies out of the money on INDO. I'll keep my eye out on that. GEOS, I tried to punch into this, but it doesn't actually allow me in on GEOS, so we won't be trading that one. And then NINE. This one was one that I think we talked about on Friday. I kept calling it 9-inch nails. Yeah, this is a really good one at the moment. NINE. It's got a lot of upper wicks there. I'm not sure if these are actual prints or bubkit or bogus prints, but it got a $154 high day. It's at a $154 right now. It's had a good couple of days here, higher highs and higher lows, and NINE up another 45% today, Joseph.
Yeah, good look there, guys. All right, I want us to see this real time. We were talking about VPA, and this is a signal that Gaurav and I lost. Polios, a lot of traders in the chat are looking for these specific signals in the market. I mentioned that each individual candle tells its own story. So now, what are we talking about here? Let's just refer to a hammer candle. We look for them at extreme highs, extreme lows, and around the volume-weighted average price. And I think we're experiencing that right now. So you can see the volume really start to kick in here, guys, on IBIT. Now, if we close as a hammer, boom, there you go. You see, you get that hammer print with a big-time isolated pivot. So I think there might be a potential bounce. And then note, If it does break it to the downside, be prepared to see some more movement, some more depreciation in price there, guys. So this could be a nice bounce, maybe back towards the volume-weighted average price, considering that we've been forming those consistent lower highs. We'll just readjust our trend. So you see we had a base, it cracked it to the downside. We had that ascending wedge. Couldn't hold the backside of the trend when it went for the retest. Boom, you break through the support and you see some more. Now we're at the previous low a day. You do get that slight whipsaw move here. Now what is going to happen? That is some big time volume. I think this is going to tell us a lot in what is to potentially come in Bitcoin. We break it, we break lower, we break the bottom wick here. Not a good sign. We have the ability to hold it. Maybe you get that retracement back towards the volume weighted average price. So this is exactly what we're looking for here, guys. I'm glad that we had the ability to see the print live. And now let's see what happens after this. Let's see if we can get the continuation. But Adair, what do you got for us?
Just keep an eye here on the market. We're seeing reports, Axios reporting, citing a U.S. official, that apparently the Trump admin is preparing for an Iran attack on U.S. Gulf bases. So looks like here, according to Axios, the Trump admin is preparing for a potential attack here in U.S. from Iran, or I guess U.S. Gulf bases here from Iran. So keep an eye here on the market, dropping lower again. Reported, I guess, planned attacks here on U.S. Gulf bases coming from Iran. And before we send you back to the guys, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Prop XP, because you can level up your trading game with Prop XP. Up to 1 to 200 leverage and static drawdown. So scroll the site and pick your challenge at propxp.com. Trade directly on our platform. Sign up, try it for free, and start your trading journey. Enjoy rapid payouts and real human support. No bots. Rated 4.6 stars on Trustpilot, trusted by traders worldwide. And right now, you can get 50% off with code TraderTV. Links in the description. Be the trader, get funded, join Prop XP today. Prop XP, your edge starts here. Visit propxp.com. Back to you.
One thing before I send it back to you there, Sharif. So yeah, people are saying that they missed the train on Tesla. I don't think so, right? Because we just cracked 352. Sorry, there's a nice support level there. Now we're heading back towards that volume-weighted, volume-weighted average price. The Qs are south of that there now, guys. So be cautious. USO is starting to trade higher. If you're looking for the longs, you want to see that oil play, and I'm glad that you mentioned that there, Sharif.
All right, man. I'm just keeping my eye here on INDO. We're taking prints. I just took a bunch of prints up into the third of $1 there. It's having a lot of trouble holding this level. I feel like this is a false breakout just to lure me in, but I'm just too stubborn to want to give this up, especially if it starts moving back up to the upside. I'll feel really bad about it. So we've taken out the majority of the position. I've layered my orders into the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Let's see what comes of INDO. We're going back to Adara.
Yes, we are, and it's actually not geopolitical this time. Keep an eye on DIS. This is Josh Brown's latest pick here, or his latest long idea on CNBC. Not a huge pump, more of a chop, but DIS on watch. This ticker was actually mentioned earlier today during the morning show. Now Josh Brown is saying that he likes it as a long on CNBC. Back to you.
You think your boy Nelson Peltz
You are fake news.
Think your boy Nelson Peltz is happy that he's off the old Disney board there?
Yeah, it's a good one. I don't know, man. My understanding was it's been a minute since that story broke, so the details of the story are starting to get a little bit fuzzy. But apparently it was another dude's money. Nelson was the face, and it was another guy's money. Nelson had his own money in there, but the majority of the money was another guy's money. So just do that. We'll get to that story in 1 second. Joseph. All right, guys. Prop X, baby. Trade the pool, excuse me. We got a bit behind the scenes look at Trade the Pool. The dashboard, it tracks your progress in real time, guys. You get live stats, you get your profits, and you get to see everything you're doing. You can break down every trade. You see your entry, you see your exit, you see how you played it out on the chart. Check out the certificate page for your full summary, achievements, and your payouts, baby. In this clip, that's Michael T right there. He's already earned $75,000, guys, in total payouts. It's Trade the Pool, baby. They give you the tools and the capital to go further. So if you're ready to level up, and I hope that you are, visit tradethepool.com or scan that QR code on the screen. Go, IND, frickin' go. We're taking out levels, Joseph Wilson. Here come, we're as long 7-11. I actually meant for this to happen. There, Adara. 7-11. It was not by accident. I told you we would get it. We got it. Shout out to Sev. We're keeping an eye here on my friend INDO. It's got a seller at 45, Joseph. We're showing 47s now. Can we weasel up to about the 50? Boom! Let's set up a little bit higher now. You know where we're going to set up. If we're in the 60s,
wow.
You already know where we're going to set up. 769er. So let's see if we can clear 50 decisively. Got a couple of more shares on this bad boy. And then we're going to Adara LePage.
Yes, we are, Sharif. Yeah, you guys are talking here about the Nelson Peltz deal. Who funded the situation? So I looked into it pretty quickly. I have more details. We're going to start here. This is an individual by the name of Nelson Peltz. Now, of course, he headed that pretty intense, I guess, activism or activist investor attempt here into Disney. That was in April 2024. He ended up losing the proxy fight. Now, the thing is, though, he was not the only person involved here. As Sharif alluded to, his claim was helped to be backed here by a man by the name of Ike Perlmutter. Now, why did Ike Perlmutter get involved? Because this is where things get really fascinating. Ike Perlmutter was no stranger to Disney. He was actually involved in Marvel as early as 1993. Now, Marvel, of course, owned by Disney. He was the CEO of Marvel for a while as well, even after it was acquired by Disney. But then they started trying to push him out of the Marvel studio aspect of things as early as September 2015 because Disney wanted Kevin Feige, who was the head of Marvel, to report to them directly. There was a bit of a disagreement. Perlmutter gets ousted, but then he was actually laid off officially from his position in March 2023. So then later that year, he starts backing Nelson Peltz. We get this activist investor attempt. After he and Peltz lose, he sold all 25.6 million of his shares in the ensuing months. So that is the very long-winded explanation of how this man and the man I just showed you tried to, I guess, get involved here in Disney via activist investment. It didn't work, and back to you.
Adara, that was fantastic. Yeah, that was actually really good. You give us the exact story with the timeline, who the guy was. I had completely forgotten his name. But I know you didn't forget this.
What? Ooh. Oh, it's me. Okay, I thought you were. All right, we're firing it up, guys. I definitely didn't forget this, Sharif. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Oragenics OGEN is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach about $8.9 billion by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today with Oragenics. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, thanks for that story there, Adara, much appreciated. And the Peltz and your friends, the Beckhams, are kind of clashing there. I don't know if you know who.
No.
You wouldn't know
what happened?
who the daughter and the son.
I know they have that whole show.
Yeah, so
I never watched it.
daughter is married to
Adara told me this. Adara's told me this. Yeah. Adara, just weasel in.
The Peltz are calling the Beckhams tight these days.
Really?
Yeah, here you go. Adara.
Take a look here at the market. It's dropping. Apparently, a Western diplomat told Reuters that there has been a credible Iranian threat against the U.S.-run Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar since noon today. So I guess if this is noon Eastern, I don't know what time it is. If it is noon Eastern, I guess for about half an hour, according to this Western diplomat, there has been a credible Iranian threat against the U.S.-run Al Udeid base. That's the latest news I'm seeing here with regards to the Middle East. If I see anything else, I will let you guys know post-haste. Back to you.
Oh, that's sick. We can throw stuff at you so easily now.
Yeah, we can totally
it's going to be direct access to, just harass Ram
right in the line of fire there.
Yeah, I don't know. Over here was okay because we could just kind of point to you and involve you in the dialogue a little bit. But that's where Ram's setting up. That's Neil. That's the makeup. Neil, say hi to everybody, baby. You're on camera. Because, Neil, you know what this new place is going to be like. There's not going to be an area over here where we're not on camera. Why are you doing that, Joseph? Why are you doing that, Joseph?
Angle. I didn't know it was that bad. Get off
this angle.
We can't do that angle anymore.
You're killing me, bro. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep saying it to you. Finasteride.
I can't take that. Yeah, I know you keep telling me.
Bro, you're driving me crazy when you say that.
I'm not risking it.
It's not the same thing.
I'm not risking it, man.
I got you.
All right, I'm long USO. I'm long USO. Let's see if we can get a pop. As you can see, we're slowly starting to climb higher right here.
I was like, what's happening
What
back
did
there?
Neil
I love
just
it. He's stunning, man.
Oh, I thought did he just, were you poking fun at me? Look, he's hiding now. I know he did something. All right, there's video evidence. I will go back and see. Because remember that one time? It was Ramin who I found out it was Ramin who did the flashback of when Obi and Adara all caught us red-handed talking about your thing there. So
I love Adara, like, and the fact of the matter is, like, there's levels of culpability, right? Like, if you negligently, walk into something, you can be reckless, which is more culpable. You can be willfully blind, which is a little bit more culpable. And then you can have direct knowledge of something. Adara's level of culpability was like all the way at the top. She was in the shot.
that was crazy.
All right, we're going back to Adara.
Going to Adara.
We're still talking about my culpability. Awesome. Let's take a look here, though, all jokes aside, at this market, which is unfortunately still dropping. Wall Street Journal reporting that Iran is moving launchers for a possible attack on U.S. forces. We've now heard reports that Iran is maybe considering, I guess, targeting either these U.S. Gulf bases or, I guess, their base in Al Udeid. So we're going to have to keep an eye here on the market. As we get reports from Wall Street Journal, Iran is apparently preparing for possible attacks on U.S. forces. And back to you.
Hold on. Neil is telling me to look at the hooded one over here. Apparently it's moving, so let's have a look at HOOD. What's Robinhood? Wow, Robinhood. Okay, we're looking over here for something on, I'm not seeing anything on my blotter since 9 a.m. Adara on Robinhood. I don't know if you're seeing anything on your end there. Yeah, not seeing anything, guys. Robinhood is selling off quite aggressively right now. Joseph, we closed out 78.50 on Friday. We are down 4.5% right now on Robinhood, taking out $75 as we speak. Down into the right it goes. Again, guys, I don't have anything on my blotter. It looks like the selling started coming in here at around 11:45. So we're 45 minutes deep here on the selling. There has been no green candles on Robinhood on the 5-minute chart now for 45 minutes. Joseph, we just lost 75 quite aggressively to the downside right now.
Market is tanking.
Yeah, the market in general is tanking right now. Well, your boy Donald over there is having a good time.
And this is what we're referring to. This is what we were like, hey, especially if those attacks are going to be legitimate and come into fruition. There you go. You cracked view up, and now you're heading towards the south side. So not too good of a look. I don't know if this is the best idea from Iran, to be honest with you. We got to cool this. This situation needs to be cooled off as soon as possible, and we need to reach to some diplomatic conclusion, because in this path, if it does go out into that aspect, I am long-term swing account, everything, liquidation, going full on cash.
That's crazy.
The minute I hear anything bad like that, Sheree.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd be buying.
You have to. You're buying. You need cash to buy. Right?
Yeah,
right.
Of course, no question about it. Yeah.
If you're not sitting on too much cash, then I'd be looking to get out of these some of these positions, because I don't want to be. If this does escalate, and Donald's not going to be able to so if they do attack these Gulf bases, Donald's probably going to have to retaliate, and then now you're going to go tit for tat. And the worst case scenario, I think, is if other parties, even more parties, start to get involved. So.
And then that's the concern, that it spirals, becomes a wider regional conflict. But the thing is, I don't know if the situation in Iran really kind of lends itself to a wider regional conflict. There were, without getting into too much, I don't really see the. Anyway, let's let that one go for now, because we'll get to it when we're in a slower trading time. Right now, Joseph, I'm trying to decide whether I want to punch in more on Indo at the 10 exponential, or I want to get out the entire thing. So I have a few more outs left. Best print I have on this one is 750. We're along 711. It's back down into 715. 715 is the 10 exponential moving average, which is, again, why I was talking about possibly adding here. It's been quite respectful of the 10 exponential moving average, but now we have a lower high on this current candle, right? So it almost looks like it's a bit of a compression pattern with lower highs and higher lows, and you never really know how this cookie's going to crumble. So I'm going to move up my stop from $7 to 707. That way we're risking like 6 pennies, okay? And I can, sorry, not 6 pennies, I can count, I promise, 4 pennies. So we'll continue to keep our position right now on INDO. I think I can definitely stomach the move against me here, given that I've extracted the majority of the position out. And so if it does break my stop, we won't give too much back. So I'm going to keep my eye out here on INDO. There's really nothing that I really like at the moment other than INDO. SY has broken down below the volume weighted average price. Even IBO. It's not below the volume weighted average price, but it lost the 10 and the 20, and both those moving averages are pointing downward when basically they were pointing up the entire day. So IBO, I'm a buyer at 7 1/3. That's the volume weighted average price. We'll see if it works its way down there. Currently, it's still about 20 pennies, maybe a little bit more higher than that. SKIN, as I mentioned, this one also has VWAP at $1.79. We'll keep an eye out on that. And then this one I didn't say anything about. We're going to send it to Adair in 1 second. I think she has breaking news. But NINE, we were kind of joking about this one on Thursday. 9-inch nails, calling it 9-inch nails. This one's got more upside potential today. It's got some higher lows. This one does retrace. It seems to retrace every time it makes an intraday high. It sells off aggressively. Keep that in mind when trading it. Go ahead, Adair.
Keep an eye here on the market, dropping today's lows. Now we have an Axios reporter on X saying that apparently Iran is preparing to fire missiles at American bases in the coming minutes. So now here, I guess these attacks here from Iran on American bases could be coming within the next few minutes. Apparently an Israeli official also saying something to the same effect. Keep an eye on the market. Right now here, low of day on the Nasdaq around 524.50. Back to you.
Yeah, we were just expecting the response at some point in time, like whatever that response ends up being. You just hope, like, look, I'm not taking a position either way on the conflict, and I don't really want to get into that. But the point is, when this happened back in 19, the U.S. Killed an Iranian general called Qasem Soleimani. They assassinated him, and Iran responded by firing some scuds at the U.S. bases in the Middle East. Obviously, nobody died, but a lot of the active service members ended up getting like migraines and stuff like that from the concussive forces of the explosion. The point is to say it ended after that. Soleimani was dead. Iran responded with some missiles, and then the matter ended for about 5 or 6 years. I hope that's how it ends up being this time.
It's like, all right. You guys hit us. Now we're just gonna send a little
we move on
there. Accept the fact that we got to retaliate. Just don't go. Don't play that tennis match where it's essentially an eye.
Joseph, I got to interrupt.
Go ahead.
INDO's breaking out again, guys. So held on a piece here. We're still holding a few pieces. It's having trouble with 7.5, and that's where it sold off last time. That's my best beak wetter right there. So now we've put in a higher low. That's what's operative to me. We didn't put in a lower area low. So let's see. Can we take out 7.5? Can we take it out decisively? My next beak wetter is going to be in the high 60s. You already know I'm waiting. If I'm waiting in the 60s, I'm waiting at 69. Let's see if we can clear that 7.5. Want to point that out, Joseph, that 7.5 level key on INDO.
Yeah, good look there. All right, guys, I'm going to probably have to hop out of this USO trade right here as the market takes a bounce, and you can see that we're selling aggressively. So there it is. We're now at the lower end of this range. It breaches VWAP, and then I'm going to just have to hop out here. So boom, there's that one. We are all out. Am I out? No, I am not. Okay, let me figure this out here, guys. Why can't we get out of this trade? That is not good. Oh, there we go. All right, so there we go. We're out of that one. No worries. Little harm done on that trade. It's unfortunate that we took that big move to the downside. So yeah, the oil play not really coming into fruition how I wanted, but that's all right. We'll find something else. Big time indecision at the lows here in the overall market. Potential bounce. I like seeing this as we were selling aggressively, but now look at the volume really start to pick up, guys. Let's take a look at the VIX. I'm assuming that now that we started to head downwards, the VIX is really starting to pick up. With that being said, we were talking about the ability to take advantage of high spikes in the VIX by just buying longer dated puts. And let's take a look at the volatility index here, guys. We don't want to look at the futures. So there it is. Inverse correlation, big time move to the downside in the overall market. VIX spikes trading around 21.30s right now, so not a horrible look. And if you want to zoom out and see what we got going on, we're still not through some of these key resistance zones on the VIX, but any elevated spike, we continue this downward momentum. We get more negative news, more war talk. You're going to see the VIX start to spike, and then with that being said, look for those longer dated puts, all right? So and this is what I was referring to, right? We can zoom out and go back as far as we would like. even though we do stay elevated for some time, look after a couple of days, you get that sell-off right back into the mean. Get that sell-off right back into the average as well right there too, guys. So just keep that in mind. Elevated VIX, I think there's definitely a consistent trade to be had there.
Yeah, INDO is just absolute nonsense right now. Look at the price action on the chart over here. I had to get some out of the mid-30s because we were about to actually go red on this. I've got 711. If this loses 7, we're gone. Simple as that. We're already out. We just got stopped out there. It's okay. Still very positive on it. Happy with how I executed on this one. Obviously not happy that I didn't get out a piece at the top. Once it took out 7.5, I was insistent that I get my print in the high 60s. I'm assuming this one had a bit of a wild candle there based on the news that we just got out of the Middle East. The low of that candle, guys, was 705. The high of the candle was 754. So quite needless to say, it had a wide range per candle. So I'm going to keep my eye here out on INDO, looking for more on it, quite frankly. But this current price action, hard to discern what this one is doing. So if that's the case, we'll just stop out and get the hell out of there. That's number one. Number two, IBO. I'm still very interested in getting back into this trade. We are about to take out an area low. This is where I got in last time. I got right in at that local area low, and we took it all the way to $1.90. So we're about to lose that 140. Now, that 140 area was an area low for a reason, because we had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes rejecting that $1.40 area as resistance. Nothing closing above it until that candle right there at 10.15. Lo and behold, we got up to 175, dropped back down, tested that same area low. So that $1.40 we know is an intraday area of support. Alas, we have such an aggressive down move from a $1.95 down into 140. So I want to see, number one, does 140 give way? If it does, I'm a buyer at around 130 for VWAP. That's number one. Number two, if a $1.40 doesn't give way, I'm getting in, on that first 5-minute candle to make a new high. A green one, obviously. So I'm going to pack my patience here on IBO. Certainly interested in getting back into this, but it's got to set up in the right way. Currently showing me a green hammer candle, at least for the moment. So that's what I'm looking at right there. Just load up my side chart over here just to give you guys an idea of what's happening in the Middle East. Yeah, I'm not seeing it quite yet. I was just going to report on it, but I don't have it on my news blotter quite yet there about the issues in the Middle East. Here's what else I'm looking at, guys. These are the small cap gappers we've got on the day. I don't know. Everything is strong except, or everything is kind of selling off, except GEOS. This is the only one where you can kind of say, wow, the trend is just very intact. 20 exponential retracement is absolute money. GEOS up almost 50%. What are you wowing about?
Just the signal and the volume and the big time bounce in the overall market. So yeah,
good bounce.
Yeah, that's a really good bounce there. And this is what I'm referring to when you see the same signal across the board. It's just like and I'm kind of just kicking myself on this here, guys, that I didn't take this trade. But here we go. We'll pull up some charts to see exactly what I'm looking at. So when I mention you see the exact same thing across the board on multiple names, you have to take that trade. And it's my fault, and I apologize for not doing so. But there you go, Qs. Look, hammer, IBIT, hammer, SPY, hammer.
Let me guess.
Amazon.
Nail.
Oh, damn it. Almost. We almost
got it. Come on, nail, hammer, bro. Let's go now.
We almost got it. We almost got it close.
You like that one?
Hey,
you ever see that trick about like putting the nail on the other side of the hammer and setting it?
No.
You ever seen that trick?
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
That's a sick one. Shout out to TikTok.
Shout out to TikTok.
Ram, have you been noticing TikTok's a little bit not that great these days? Why do they keep pushing videos that have low amount of views? Are you getting that as well? I don't understand. TikTok's definitely changed the algorithm. Yeah. You ever since that little outage there that we had at the beginning of whenever that ban went into effect?
Yeah.
Ever since that time, dude.
They
TikTok hasn't been.
All right, so it's not.
What's that, Ram? Yeah, people with like 20 followers are like they're all getting their content pushed, which is not a bad thing, but you know, usually.
Right. Spread the love, man.
Adara, when are you getting on TikTok?
I don't go on TikTok, and Sharif, definitely set me up with that. People will send me TikToks. I do not willingly go on the app. Otherwise, Take a look here, though, at the market actually bouncing pretty nicely. Though we're not really seeing any big news here. So these apparently we have some oil majors pulling staff from Iraq amid fears of retaliation by Iran. That's reported by the Financial Times. We also have, I guess, a news here confirmed that Iranian missiles were apparently launched at American bases in Qatar and Iraq. A source familiar with the details has said this, so keep an eye on the market. We did hear reports that we're going to be getting some Iranian missiles launched at American bases. Apparently, those missiles have been launched. Back to you.
Invest in every sector you love, all in one stock. 3D Capital, trading on the Canadian Stock Exchange under IDK and the US IDKFF. It's a risk-diversified basket of about 60-plus vetted investments. Get founder-level exposure, the kind most investors can't access in some of the hottest sectors. We're talking blockchain, AI, Internet of Things, IoT, biotech, and natural resources. Led by a CEO whose last venture returned 150x, 3D is currently trading at a discount to its asset value per share, and they're actively buying back and deleting shares. The world's highest returning investments usually come from founder-level access. Think of 3D as your ETF for early-stage disruptive innovation. Shout out to 3D. That's actually quite interesting there. We always talk about, having that gatekeeping effect. Have you heard of alt investments? Like like SpaceX.
Okay.
How it doesn't trade on the private markets, on the private market, but a lot of people are invested in SpaceX through the private markets because they're qualified investors. And so in order to be a qualified investor, you have to have a certain license, a certain amount of money. If you don't, you're an idiot. That's why you're not allowed to invest. We need the government to babysit us, Joseph. We can't make our own decisions.
We can't.
It's a pay-to-play game, says Obi. I'm exaggerating for effect, obviously, but that's essentially what it is.
Pay-to-play, yeah. I wish I could pay-to-play in SpaceX there. I was watching some video on the guy who thinks it can be a ridiculous, multi-trillion-dollar market. So
We're talking about what?
SpaceX.
A
ridiculous amount of money he was referring to. Yeah, all right, guys. Unfortunate that we missed this move on the QZ. I'm slightly kicking myself on that one, especially after the loss on USO. Still nicely green on the day, but yeah, unfortunate that we didn't get to take advantage of this candle because I mentioned when it's across the board on multiple names, you have the volume print, you have the indecision hammer, and this is exactly what we were referring to earlier. For those who are asking me about some good technical analysis books, this is what we were talking about. This is A++. So yeah, it's totally my fault for not taking that trade there, guys. You don't want to think about it too much. You just want to just take the swing, right? Uh-oh.
What happened?
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Let it go, and then do it again. Not that fast, bro. There it is. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Been there.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, maybe we'll look for the continuation to the downside here, guys, because the momentum did pick up. But that is a nice hammer candle at the lows. Rejecting VWAP right now relatively aggressively. So maybe a continuation to the downside. Be patient. Wait for that precision entry. Zoom in and see what the lower time frames are telling you as well. And I don't see anything from a inverted hammer standpoint at VWAP. So I'm going to be patient. Wait for the retest of it. If it doesn't break VWAP once again, then that's when I'm going to look to take the shorts there in the overall market. All right, guys. So just keep that in mind. USO tanked heavy on me. That's an absolute bummer. So, and to be honest with you, that was the first time I ever traded this name. But this is what you get out. You don't want to sit in this for like a 2-point move against you, right? So as soon as we headed towards the volume weighted average price, momentum picked up. You get that aggressive bounce in the overall market. See you later to USO there, Sharif. So,
clearly. Yeah. And you know what else see you later to?
What?
Another one that's very oil related. INDO.
Ooh.
I'm really happy that we got out of this. I'm very disappointed that I didn't take the break of 50 there, but we end up giving back, I think, about 5 pennies. Got stopped out at 707. But look where this went down to, man, 640. So this one really did lose. It lost the trend very aggressively. higher highs and higher lows. In fact, this candle here, the one that I'm disappointed I didn't take the print on, the 1235 candle, that probably bamboozled a lot of people because a lot of trend following traders. You're looking for those higher highs, and you certainly got the higher high above that double top at 750 there, only to be triggered in maybe at 755, 754, and then have this drop $1.10 on you in a matter of seconds. That's quite frustrating, but that is what small cap trading is all about. Take those smaller losses, guys, on these small cap traders, and then try to hold for your winners. A lot easier said than done, obviously. INDO, big move down, probably stopped out a lot of people. This is kind of how my trade looked on it. Where is it at? Right there. So we got in at 711, and then we ended up giving back a little bit there on 707. So a little disappointing. Now, what's okay is look at this area over here, guys. Look at that 6.5. Now, I'm not going to trade this because it's below VWAP, right? But look at that 6.5. 6.5 was acting as a very clear resistance level, basically, since we lost it at around 10 a.m. until we regained it around 11:30. And then lo and behold, it dips all the way back down, finds support at 640, 650, and now it's back up to 680. So this breaks my rules to trade it below the volume weighted average price, but showing you intraday areas of support and resistance are the real deal. Give us more information, Adara.
Gladly, Sharif. Take an eye or keep a something. Take a look here at HIMS. A little bit of a bounce. So in case you missed it, this one dropped here pre-market that continued to drop here after Novo Nordisk reportedly said it would no longer be supporting HIMS. You're offering Wegovy, that partnership was not going to be a thing anymore. Now we have HIMS CEO apparently saying in a letter that they will continue to offer Wegovy. I need to look more into this. I don't have many details and I couldn't find much, but just letting you guys know this headline is out there. We are again seeing this circulate on X, a headline suggesting that the CEO of HIMS said the company will still be offering Wegovy. If I have any more details, I'll let you guys know. Wegovy also, that could be on watch here because it is a different drug here. We have, of course, Ozempic from Novo Nordisk and then Wegovy from Eli Lilly. So I guess this could mean they're still offering the competitor's drug. If I find any details, I'll let you guys know, but just keep an eye on HIMS. Also, apparently, Iran launching additional ballistics. And U.S. jets apparently scrambling over Saudi Arabia. I've seen that headline circulated a little bit here as well. So just be aware. White House and the Department of Defense, according to a senior White House official, said they're aware of and closely monitoring the situation. Back to you.
Anybody in the chat know if the United States deploys like an Iron Dome style missile defense system to protect their U.S. bases in the Middle East? Like they've got plenty. They got one in Qatar. They got plenty in Saudi Arabia, Oman. I know they're in the Sinai in Egypt. I think they may be in Jordan. I'm not sure. Like, do they protect their bases there using an Iron Dome kind of system? I'd love to know if anybody in the chat's former military or has that information. Tag Joseph or I. Let us know, because obviously it makes a big difference there. If I'm not saying you don't have to worry, obviously, but if you've got a system in place there, it gives you a bit more comfort.
Yeah, if any, some
if any,
yeah. Then yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Interesting article by Zoltan Ban on Seeking Alpha VinFast developing market strategy, starting to catch investors' attention. While competition strong in the U.S. and Europe, they're focusing on fast-growing markets like India, Indonesia, and the Philippines. With rising oil prices, EVs are looking more appealing. Q1 showed major progress. Loss per vehicle dropped from $61,000 to $18,000. Nasdaq ticker, VFS, VinFast. Definitely one to watch there, guys. Go check out VinFast. Yeah, let's actually pull it up here because I'm curious to see what we got going on.
Yeah, I got it right here. Everybody's saying THAAD. It's called THAAD. Thermal High Altitude Area Defense. That's what most people were saying. Looks like they're mobile, so you can definitely
zoom in on that.
Yeah. It looks like they're launched off the back of a truck. THAAD was developed after the experience of Iraq's Scud missile attacks during the Gulf War in '91. Thermal High Altitude Air Defense. Thank you guys for that in the chat. I do appreciate that. We're going back to Adara.
Keep an eye on the market. So apparently Tasnim, which is described as a semi-official news agency based in Iran, has reported that the missile operation, which they're calling the, quote, Annunciation of Victory, has launched against U.S. bases in Iraq and Qatar. Apparently, they, according to Axios, Iran launched 10 missiles towards U.S. bases in Qatar. Back to you.
Adara, what do they call it again?
Oh, sorry. Annunciation of victory is what they're calling it. So I guess they're announcing victory.
Thank you very much for that, Adara.
Yeah, already?
Are you enunciating your victory? Enunciating your victory.
Yeah, I don't know. I would maybe announce it, but
Nobody caught that. Fine. What do you got?
I got nothing cooking up right now, apparently, but I want to kind of short this market, so maybe we'll get involved in that there, guys. The TQs here, you can go long SQs or actually just short everything here. Yeah, so you can see we're holding this support level. I would rather get it back towards the volume-weighted average price. I think that we have to be slightly more patient on that one. So, yeah, there it is. Bearish market. You got to be cautious on what you're trading here today, guys. You can see the volatility. Most definitely step in. Wait for these pullbacks. Is the tape telling us that we're relatively weak? I think so. You can see countless moves on the bid. Boom, boom. You can see the weakness displayed there, guys. So, yeah, just look to follow where the weakness and the strength is. So, yeah, there it is. Oh, okay, a big gap down in the overall market. I don't want to chase it at these lows, but it might be a good trade. Okay, yeah, I'm going to pack my patience. I'm going to hold these hands here, Sharif, because I don't want to chase anything down here just yet. But I believe at some point we are going to go and test those lower days, especially on the trajectory that we're currently sitting on. And I'm seeing the weakness displayed in the time of sales. Just need to wait for that right entry price so you're not selling the lows. You want to get in a little bit higher just in case the market does decide that it wants to bounce. Your risk to reward will be vastly skewed if you are chasing it all the way down here, that's for sure.
All right, guys, I want to remind you that super easy way to vote now. Right, we're not doing these polls anymore. You don't have to, exclamation point this or that. It's super simple. It's the $sign, like being on X and Twitter, and then the ticker that you want. We have an automatic system. Shout out to the Chilean nightmare who's feeling under the weather today. Fabian created this system that basically picks it up automatically. It'll tabulate for us at the end. That way, when I get up to the big desk and we do the afternoon rundown, it's all right there for me. So it's just the $sign, just like Neil did right there with Indo. $sign, INDO. Whatever ticker you want. Right? We saw the Katina man with the Tesla banger. We saw Neil with the Indo banger this morning. So make sure you are voting for your tickers every day. And we don't have any other requirements other than they be a 3, 4, or 5 letter ticker preceded by the $sign. Thank you, Assassino, for reminding me about that. I do appreciate it there. All right, guys, there is not much, sadly, happening in the world of small cap gappers at the moment. Save and except for our friend GEOS. And this one is a bit of a bamboozler as well. So look at this, 788 area high. Boom to the downside. 684 area low. How many people do you think that stopped out? If you had your stop, though, below the 10 EMA, you likely didn't get stopped out. In fact, even better, if you had that buy order waiting at the 10 EMA, you're laughing up a storm because this one popped up right back into 760. Alas, we were putting in higher lows, but we do have also lower highs, so a bit of a compression pattern right now at near the high of the day, I should say, on GEOS. This is up a nice 51%. So certainly, definitely not the best trade for this one is not behind it quite yet because we're very much near the highs. The information on this are as follows. Is it 11 3/4 million share float? And the short float on this one, kind of, I don't want to say negligible, but not that exciting, 3.17%. It's done a decent amount of volume today, just a little over 1 million shares. It is lightly traded for a $17 name, no question about that, hence why it is spready at times. So GEOS in focus. IBO, this is the #1 gapper in the market, not exactly moving in the same parabolic way that it was to the high side earlier, a $1.95 high. We are holding generally this area a support right now between a $1.40 to a $1.50. We are having trouble staying above a $1.50. In fact, this candle kind of puts everything a little bit in wait and see mode. It pops up into 161, then we have 3 candles that make newer lows and newer highs. Sorry, lower lows and lower highs, excuse me. So IBO in focus, but I don't like anything right now, guys. So I'm not in any trades because none of the small cappers are setting up in the right way. I'm keeping my eye up on the top scanner there for any new small cap gappers that could weasel their way onto the scene. And alas, there is really nothing that I'm liking at the moment, but I will let you know as soon as I see anything. For now, I'm going to send it back to Joey while I set up for the news.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, here we go. You can see that we're short the Qs. This is going to be a key area. We got this downtrend. Excuse me. We break through the support, then there might be an add opportunity after retest of that support level, but then now I'm aiming forward towards the low of the day. So yeah, let's see what we got going on. Boom, there we go, we crack it. One thing to note, guys, keep an eye on the volume by time. We are slowly starting to stair step down as we depreciate in price, and that's not necessarily something that we want to see. We want to see it stair step up, but I'm not saying that that volume cannot step in. But there we go, waiting for those entries, guys. Really, really important. Nice move here on the TQ.
Get it, Joe.
Let's go. Yeah. We're getting that move. Maybe we get the low of the day here, Sharif. That would be prime time. That's Deion Sanders, right? Who is prime time?
Prime, yeah.
All right, let's go. Or shout out Optimus Prime, I guess.
Whoa.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, see, that's the thing, a whipsaw move. Now we're starting to bounce back. Let's see if we can crack this 72 level in the overall market. Now that we're trading the Qs, we have to keep an eye on some of the larger names. What is NVDA doing? What is Amazon doing? And what is Tesla doing? Looks like they want to bounce. We need this downtrend to stay intact. 72.20. We had 40 cents there really quick. I'm looking for a little bit more. That low of the day test is that primary target, but we have to be patient and wait and see if we can get there. So yeah, that's what we got going on. We need that weakness to continuously be displayed. Right now we're seeing the defense on the ask, not something I want to see, but keep stepping in, hitting the bid, below the bid. That's going to show us the weakness that we want, and that's going to give us more conviction to stay within this trade. We crack this trend, sit on the backside of it right here is what I'm referring to, then maybe we have to get out and you're going to get that strong aggressive bounce in the market just like that. So yeah, there it is.
Katina Man, Silverado Blue wants to know what you're doing over there. Any updates on the positions? Yes. Can we get them? I love the suspense that I have to wait for. Okay, he's coming in.
He's also short the market.
Katina Capital.
Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, I'm also with my mini-me guy over there. Yeah, no, I flipped over to the Qs. So we started shorting right here, right now. So we're short. My average price is 72.75. We're just in it right now. We were starting to short underneath the 50-period moving average. It just popped back up there. Look, I'm not liking, obviously, and I just sat back down, so I don't know. I got to. My son just got awarded the MC position for his for the graduation this year. So that's how. I wonder where he gets talking from. But no,
Baxter?
No, Barron. He's
Barron.
13-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Baxter's 23. He moved out. But no. Anyways, good call on that one. So no, I was just thinking that overall, I'm with Joe because I think the market is got to price in some of this. Turmoil, right? And I think we've already done it. Nasdaq looked to turn red there. It did, but we're bouncing right now. So I don't know. My out. I don't know where Joe's is. I'm getting pretty aggressive on this. I'm gonna have to get taken out up here, 73.50. So that's going to be
if it breaks VWAP, I'm out of the short.
Oh, break VWAP. Okay, yeah, I'm getting more at VWAP. So punch me in, Joe. Punch me in. All right, talk to you guys later.
All right, Neil's letting me know that oil stocks are absolutely dropping off a cliff. Oil is down 4%, dude. Look at this. Yeah. Are you kidding me right now? Oil is absolutely tanking. Where the hell is my oil futures? There it is, futures. Show yourself. It's the August contract that we want there, Joseph. Look at oil absolutely take a nosedive. 4% and going here, Joseph. So I guess it was a sell the news event. Yeah. Wait until they fire the missiles, and then, that's when we sell the news. Yeah. So oil all the way, or buy the news in this case, because you're getting out of your shorts. Adara, any more information?
Yes, we do have some more info here. So we're seeing, lots of reports of alarms sounding in the area. But we do have comments here coming from Iran on state TV. They said that they've launched a, quote, powerful and devastating strike at the Udeid base. They said they're not leaving any attack in Iran's territory unanswered under any circumstances, and saying that, I guess what's happening here is a response to the U.S. striking over the weekend. And they also said that they will respond to, quote, any repeated U.S. mischief. So definitely issuing a little bit of a warning here to the U.S. The market, though, bouncing pretty nicely. Back to you.
Guys, we're seeing, I'm sure Darren's reported on this, but people are saying explosions heard over the sky in Doha, Qatar, as well as missiles fired from Iran towards U.S. bases in Qatar and Iraq. So obviously the U.S. still has troops in Iraq that are, I guess, going to be a target here for Iran. So we will keep you apprised. I wanted to build on this oil headline over here. I'm showing you the chart. XOM as well down 1.7%. Occidental over 2%. Devon Energy going on 3. You're getting, Schlumberger 4.25. So you're definitely getting a lot of selling right now in the oil names. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Usually it's the opposite. When belligerencies pick up, oil goes up. But in this case, it was sort of a sell the news. Or in this case, again, cover your shorts, shortest situation. Anything you want to go on before we cover the news?
No, I'm still short here. The market's ripping to the top side here. So maybe it's just going to be a liquidity grab or something along those lines. So I'll be as patient as I can. But I don't want to take too big of a hit on this, though. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
The Katina man's looking at you, bro. He's giving you a look, bro. He wants you to hold that
whipsaw there. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I will wait for it to open above it, and then after that, I'll hop out.
No, I'm stuck now too. So
Yeah,
I'm 7301.
Yeah,
the Katina man short 7301 on the triple Qs, guys. So keep your eye out on that. Katina man keeping his positions in the chat. If you're following what the Katina man is doing, you should be keeping your eye on the chat.
At VWAP, though, I like that.
And we're going to talk a little oil here, Joseph, because the first topic we have is the Strait of Hormuz tensions. So it's a little strip between, well, there's many countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and Iran. It's a little area of water there, and Iran's parliament apparently yesterday approved the potential closure of the Strait of Hormuz following the attacks, obviously, by, Katina man, on the Iranian nuclear sites. The final decision, though, doesn't rest with Iran's parliament. It lies with the National Security Council of Iran. I don't know who makes up that body. Experts view this threat as minimal, though, because of the potential it has for a massive self-inflicted economic harm. Again, Iran relies on this to weasel their oil mostly to China. The biggest buyer of Iranian oil right now, Katina man, is China, believe it or not. Okay? So, Iran ships...
I believe it.
He believes it. He believes it. Iran's shipping about 1.5 million barrels a day through the strait we're talking about, and a closure could obviously disrupt key exports, especially to China, as I mentioned, its largest oil customer. Analysts say Iran unlikely to want to provoke China or other Gulf countries that use that same strait, give it the potential for blowback and the economic isolation that could ensue. And just to give you an idea, the Strait of Hormuz on its own handles about 20% of the entire world's global oil flow. That's crazy, making the world's most critical energy transit route. Analysts expect, though, Iran to avoid a full disruption, possibly opting for a partial interference of the strait. We'll have to see how that ends up working out. And there are limited alternatives, though. So if it does get blocked, you know what's going to hit the fan. The reason is because there's only about 2.6 million barrels per day that move out of Saudi and the UAE vis-a-vis pipelines. Compare that to the 20 million barrels per day that are transported through the strait. In other words, there's no other feasible short-term alternative mode of transportation for the oil. 2.6 million barrels per day, 20 million barrels per day. So no feasible alternative, putting sustained upward pressure possibly on global energy prices if the conflict escalates. That is not happening at the moment, as I mentioned. Oil a bit down. Catching a bit of a bid, though, so off the low there was about 4%. Now it's 3.25. We're going to pause for a second and send it back to Adair.
Just be aware here, we have a response here from Qatar with regards to this missile attack on one of its bases. They say they reserve the right to respond to this blatant attack. They intercepted the missile barrage here on the Al Udeid air base. They said there was no incident or casualties from the attack. We are basically saying here that they do reserve the right to respond. That's coming out from Qatar. So might be some more responses here and back and forth in the Middle East. Back to you.
Thank you. And good pronunciation there, Dara, by the way. All right, let's go on and talk a little circle. Stock hasn't been doing too much, Joseph, and we don't need to talk about it.
Circle.
It's only up 83% last week, 200% since the IPO. What is happening here? No, kidding. So it was up about 83 and change last week and has doubled since their IPO earlier this month. The surge follows the U.S. Senate's passage of that Genius Act, which is a bill designated or designed, to establish a federal regulatory framework for stablecoins. And that's important for Circle because they're the sole issuer of USDC, the second largest stablecoin on the market, obviously after their friends at Tether there, which have about 2/3. They have about 1/3, give or take. The bill will enable banks, fintechs, and even retailers to basically legally issue and use stablecoins. It includes regulatory oversight and consumer protections, and now moves to the House of Representatives, of course, for reconciliation. Should be noted that they have their own bill there for stablecoin legalization called, I think it's called the Stable Act or something like that. The Genius one is the Senate. Ram. Tripping me up over here. Their Genius one is the Senate. They have their own one. They're in the House, and then they have to reconcile it before it weasels on to the president's desk to be signed and made into law. The bill will, as I mentioned, it's going to enable banks and retailers and stuff like that to issue stablecoins legally. Despite the excitement, investors are urged here to be cautious with Circle. So the reason is, what's Circle market cap right now? CRCL. Is it going to give me the market cap? It hasn't been given to me because it's too early. Well, $60 billion without today's 12.5% move. Okay? This is old. This is from last week. Okay? $60 billion. On revenue of $1.7 billion last year. They have over a $60 billion market cap, and they don't make $2 billion on the year. Obviously, that's last year. That's not 2025. And the market is obviously forward-looking, not backwards-looking. The point is, it's very oversubscribed at the moment. Whether or not it goes down, that's a different story. The stock's near 200% rise in the weeks post-IPO highlights the speculative interest, but also the potential volatility. There are issues, though, with Circle. Let me give you some of them. It is likely going to be interest rate sensitive, meaning that if the Fed does cut rate, that could eat into their margins. Higher interest rates have been good for Circle. Also, believe it or not, about 50% of their revenue is actually tied to Coinbase, who holds and supports USDC on Coinbase's platform. That's also kind of concerning. And the changes to how much USDC Coinbase supports could significantly impact Circle's financials. So I'm not saying it's going to tank or anything like that, but be on the lookout and have that information ready to go if you want to make an investment decision. Anything you want to cover? Or
yeah, I added a little bit more in here, guys. I typically don't do that, but this is why when you crack through that trend, I've mentioned this before, you get out, all right? So there you go. We added up here into these resistance zones. Let's see if we get a bounce, but this market is super strong and looks like it wants to rebound. I mentioned when you're trading the Qs, you're looking to short. What are the big names around it doing? Well, look at NVDA. Doesn't look like it wants to slow down and maybe head towards the high of the day here and break through some of those key levels. We're just going to be patient. Maybe it's just a liquidity grab. Again, not something that I necessarily do, but I have a little bit of conviction in here. Let's see what we can get back to kind of our entry price here, just a break even or south of the volume weighted average price. We crack through this high, then I'll just hop out. That's going to be it. We don't want to hold this too far against us there, Sharif. Yeah,
videos are circulating in right now from Qatar of the missiles in the air. I saw somebody in the chat there saying 3 direct hits. Christopher Jones. I haven't been able to verify that. I haven't been able to verify it. And I haven't seen it on TV either. So we'll keep you guys apprised as things, develop, because it is very much market related, not just with oil, but with everything. Yeah. Let's go on to the next one over here. Tesla in the news. In case you haven't seen, Tesla up 8.5% on the day, almost above 350, Joseph. It feels like every day the volatility on this one doesn't subside. But Tesla has launched a small fleet of driverless robotaxis on Sunday, yesterday in Austin, marking its first deployment carrying paying passengers. The rollout included, Joseph, about 10 vehicles, not too many, operating in a very limited area with a front seat safety monitor. And the price is, Joseph, a flat rate.
$4.20. That's interesting.
Very interesting. Shout out to our friend Ellen.
Why do you think he did that?
It has nothing to do with 420, Joseph. I want get that out of your mind, bro. Get it that out of your mind.
He's clean. Remember, he's clean. He doesn't do it.
Did he put marijuana? Did he put? He did?
Absolutely.
No, he didn't.
Everything.
That's hilarious. What a joker.
That guy's clean as a whistle.
All right. I told you, get to find out which masking agent he took. I'm playing. Elon Musk called it the culmination of a decade of hard work with, and I like this part a lot, Tesla's own AI chips and software, obviously built in-house, kind of building on that vertical integration that we've always known Tesla for. They invited a lot of influencers, in case you haven't seen the umpteen amount of videos that have found their way onto YouTube, but Tesla invited a select, I beg to differ with that, select group of social media influencers for a controlled pilot, including the ride orders via a dedicated Tesla robotaxi app. The early footage showed Tesla rides, beginning in South Congress, which is an area of Austin, with clear absence of human drivers. Now, that's all good in there. How are they doing this? What legislative framework are they using? Well, they're using a Texas AV law, and that passed legislation requiring permits for autonomous vehicles. It's going to be basically effective September 1st. The law will allow the state to revoke permits if public safety is at risk and mandates emergency guidance for first responders. Apparently, analysts are calling this Texas AV law easy to get, but also easy to lose. So you're going to have to play nice, I guess. Make sure Greg Abbott doesn't get upset over that.
Ooh, yeah, we don't want that.
Get it, Greg.
Get it, Greg. I'm going to pull up something.
One more thing, and then I'll throw it to you, Joseph. Tesla will limit the service scope initially. They're going to avoid bad weather. They're going to try and avoid complex intersections, and they will not they will not pick up minors under the age of 18. Musk emphasized the company was going to be quote unquote, super paranoid about safety in the early stages of the rollout. And as I mentioned last week, Joseph, they are monitoring these things off-site. So even though there's a safety driver in the car, the actual cars themselves are being monitored remotely everywhere.
Yeah, very interesting. So just a couple things too. So I was listening to Danny Ives yesterday, and he said with this robo fleet coming in, there's a possible bull case. The bull case for Tesla would be $2 trillion by the end of 2026. That's a market cap standpoint.
Interesting.
Very interesting. But I also didn't know this, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of Amazon Zoox?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I've never personally heard of this. So apparently this is a black horse in this race that we're seeing between Waymo and Tesla as well.
Good call. And you definitely don't want to write off Amazon.
No,
it's not a good idea.
At 0 point do you ever write off Amazon. So yeah, there it is, guys. I'm gonna hop out of this Q trade. It's unfortunate that it's just continuing to squeeze right now. I'm looking at NVDA, Amazon. I just mentioned that, in some of the bigger names. They look like they want to break through some of the highs of days and some key resistance zones. I don't want to be short the market if NVDA decides that it wants to break the high of the day. Adair, what do you got for us?
Just keep an eye here on the market. We have comments now coming from Fed's Goolsbee saying that it's critical to look at soft economic data at the current moment of transition. Nothing huge here, but just letting you guys know that he is talking. Then at 2:30 p.m., we get a double whammy of Fed speakers. That'll be Kugler and Williams, both hitting the podium at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So in about an hour from now, more or less. We also have, I guess, more commentary here from the Middle East. I'm not going to get into all of it, but one thing that's worth noting, apparently Fox News reporting, citing U.S. sources, that the U.S. military was not surprised by the Iranian attack on its bases. We kind of have that sense anyway. Market trying to recover really nicely here from these lows, and back to you.
All right, videos circulating now of Patriot missiles that are intercepting some of these incoming Iranian ballistic missiles. I'm keeping it close over here. So the social media stuff we're getting, it's always hard to verify whether this is newer video or recycled older video. But apparently some of the missiles were intercepted by, I guess they're not saying THAAD. I don't know if Patriot missiles make up part of the THAAD. You guys are going to have to fact check me. I don't know all that much about these missile systems, guys. But
I don't get it. Why launch the missiles if you know they're going to get intercepted?
They have people as well that they need to basically take account of. Like, I mean, they can't be observed to be weak amongst their own people.
That's
so if
fair.
you're not
That's
responding,
fair.
then you know what I mean?
Valid point there, yeah.
Yeah, and like they've done that in the past. We talked about that in 19 when they killed Soleimani. Trump assassinated him basically, and they responded back. So we're going to keep an eye out on that for you. We got Adair at the big desk. We got all the bases covered. And now we're going to talk about Bitcoin and that brief slide. When I say brief here, I'm just going to check it. Below 100,000. Yeah, I watched this one last night. In fact, in the afternoon, Bitcoin was below 100,000, fell below $99,000 actually. Its lowest price since May amid rising tensions over Iran's threats to close the Strait of Hormuz and to respond, obviously. Ether plunged 10%. Solana, XRP, Doge, they all posted significant losses, dragging the crypto complex down as a whole. There are inflation worries, and this pisses me off about Bitcoin, that it's still a risk asset. So rising oil prices are reviving concerns that the U.S. inflation could visit a higher figure, maybe 5%, who knows, the headline number, which may cause the Fed to delay or reduce the tariff or the rate cuts that we have planned for the rest of the year. The macro shift has spooked these risk assets, with traders rotating out of speculative names like crypto. And that's what you don't want to see if you're a long-term crypto person, like I pretend to be. You want to see this as an inflation hedge, as a flight to safety, not a risk asset. If I want the Qs, I'll buy the Qs. I don't want to buy the Qs and Bitcoin and have them move in tandem. That's not why I'm in it. So the sooner the correlation can get decorrelated, the better for me. Crypto analytics firm Kaiko reports a spike in Bitcoin correlation, with the Nasdaq reversing a multi-month divergence. This reinforces the view that Bitcoin is behaving like a risk asset rather than inflation-insulated risk. And we'll go to Adair in 1 second. Spot ETF saw about $1.04 billion in inflows last week, but that all collapsed towards the end of the week. The net inflows on Thursday were about $6.4 million, by Friday, coinciding with obviously the earlier departure from the G7 by Donald Trump to deal with Iran. And the drop below 99K triggered widespread forced liquidation. Stop buying this thing on margin. On Binance, on Bybit, and other offshore derivative exchanges, over $1 billion in positions were wiped out in 24 hours, with a 95% from long bets. Most people were not short, indicating severe over leverage there. Adara.
Just keep an eye here on this market. Fed's Goolsby still talking. He's generally lately been a little bit more, I guess, hawkish or cautious here than some of his colleagues. That's still happening as he makes these comments here. He's saying that the current form of uncertainty is disconcerting for the economy, which does vary a little bit from the Fed statements at the Fed meeting last week. They said that uncertainty had actually been, I guess, controlled a little bit. He also said that so far that the impact of tariffs is not as bad as feared. We also have more comments here coming out about the Iranian attack here. Apparently, according to the New York Times, they coordinated the attacks on the U.S. airbase in Qatar with Qatari officials and gave advance notice that the attacks were coming to minimize casualties. We also, there is another comment here as well, I believe, on watch. Yeah, I think that was the main thing here. Just be aware that we do have, I guess, reports that these were actually forewarned, these attacks here from Iran to Qatar. They also, now we have more comments coming from Iran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, saying that after the U.S. attack on their nuclear facilities, that's what motivated their attack against the U.S. Al Udeid base in Qatar. I have more details. I'll let you know. Back to you.
Thank you, Adair. Anything you want to cover, brother, before I go on?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that I didn't trade this very well here, guys. I'm going to hop all out of this trade here momentarily. As the market's continuing to squeeze, I mentioned time and time again, you don't want to be shorting the market when the big names, especially the Mag 7, NVDA, Amazon, approaching to the high of the day. So, yeah. That's what I got going on. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. We got a nice little whipsaw move. Indecision prints at the lows I was referring to, amazing reversal candles. And sometimes you just got to listen to what the market's telling you, especially when you sit on the backside of this downtrend right here. You just got to get out. So you can see the tape extremely strong. We're not getting those moves to the downside that we want. They just kept getting bid back up. You see the strength on the at the ask and above the ask. So let's see how these names react around these levels. But yeah, unfortunately, a really, really bad trade on my behalf, and I apologize.
I don't apologize, man. We all make them.
But yeah, I don't like doing those things. So
yeah, well, I feel you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk a little SMCI. In case you haven't noticed, SMCI is down. So a big down move here, and there's a reason for that. It's launching a $2 billion offering of convertible senior notes that are going to be due in 2030. The notes are intended for qualified institutional buyers, meaning the schmucks like myself and Joseph, we're just not advanced enough to be trusted with this kind of investment. No, I say that because I don't like the rule. Under Rule 144A of the Securities Act of 1933, they also have an additional option. An additional $300 million in notes, which may be offered to the initial purchasers via an option clause that they can later exercise. The notes will be senior unsecured obligations and will pay a semi-annual interest. The maturity date for these bad boys, June 15th, 2030, so essentially in 5 years from now. They intend on using the capital for capped call transactions, which are basically a hedge against potential dilution. The up to as well $200 million in stock purchases of that $2 billion that they raised. They'll use up to maybe $200 million for stock buybacks, as well as general corporate purposes. We've heard this as well from GameStop when they say general corporate purposes and then they go buy Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But SMCI down 6 2/3%, still above the $42 level. And by the way, SMCI 40% year to date in the green, 38.81. So essentially a decent year for SMCI. I would say one of the best performing microchip semiconductor names. I would say the only one that's done better than SMCI year to date is Micron, up 45 1/3. Nvidia's up 7 3/4, AMD 6 3/4, AVGO 9. So SMCI, man, second best performing one, at least on my watch list. And I've got quite a few names there. So let's talk a little AMD, perfect segue. Your boys at Melius Research gave them the nod today, upgrading AMD from hold to buy, with analyst, I want to say, Ben Reitzes, setting a new price target of $175. It's up from $110. That's obviously a nice little upside implication with that $175 price target from the close on Friday. It would imply a 36.5% upside. I didn't do the math to see where it's at right now. Reitzes highlight, that's the analyst, by the way. He's highlighting growing investor optimism around the inferencing-related GPU growth. Now, if you're a pseudo nerd, at least in AI, you know that different types of chips are better for inferencing, while some other chips are better for training. So this is inferencing-related GPU growth, which is more advanced, from my understanding. They're talking about the window between 2026 and 2028. That's when they see, a really big boom for AMD. At least that's what we're predicting. The demand from hyperscalers as well as sovereign buyers, the Melius goes on to say, is accelerating, pushing those forecasts higher. And the analysts are quite confident in their call. They're saying it's based on strong conviction that the street is underestimating AI GPU monetization, and the firm, Melius that is, expects continued upward earnings revisions, Joseph, and growing institutional interest in the AI hardware trade. AI, never heard of it.
No, never heard of AI, but good on AMD though. I mean, they're working with Anthropic, starting to build the largest supercomputer in the world. I think that's a really big time bullish case here on for AMD, and you're seeing that continue. I'm all out of the TQs, guys. Yeah, unfortunately, I went green to red on that trade. Just bad trade management. You're supposed to get out when you're supposed to, and that's why we draw these trend lines and get out. But it is what it is. We'll just focus. Apple's ripping. iBit's trading higher. NVDA is now at the new high of the day. Amazon is now heading into some key 210 levels. That's going to be really important. Google is weak, so not a positive sign. Tesla looking relatively, it's moving eastward here, guys, not doing too much. Let's see what Microsoft is up to, but it's looking like the Qs are going to break through this high of the day right here, guys. So yeah, I don't want any of that smoke. It's unfortunate. Yeah, so just a bad trade. So yeah, we'll just put that one behind us and try not to repeat those mistakes. But go Bitcoin, go.
Go Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to see something positive on the day, there it is. Bitcoin continuing to climb higher and high. So high. There it is, a nice move. I think at this pace, the market is going to breach the high of the day. Bitcoin's going to head towards that high of the day. NVDA is on the pace to break that 145 resistance zone. I think we're on that path. So there we go. Nice moves here in the overall market, to the top side, that is. Trading
today for tomorrow. Great call out. I'm going to read your note. Sharif, If you measure SMCI by their forward PE, good one there, forward PE and their PS, they are extremely undervalued in relation to the market. The short report in November 2024 hurt them bad. Yeah, man, I remember that. Obviously, it was a very bad one. But they had this kind of issue before. I mean, SMCI had been delisted, you'll recall, from the Nasdaq. So it was a company that kind of, I don't want to say a repeat offender, but the market got spooked when they saw that short report, given what had happened in the past. Whether the market was right and whether the short report was fair and accurate, that's an entirely different story. We're just commenting on the price action. And the fact of the matter is, SMCI, as I mentioned, the second best performing semi-micro name in the entire market on my watch list anyway. That's not saying much, at least from the big names, guys. Second only to Micron, which is up about 46% on the year. Let's go on now to the worst performing Mag 7 name on the year, lovingly known as the dead one, Apple. Let's talk about this one, Joseph. It's down 19.5% year to date. Apple is in last-minute talks with the European regulator to avoid escalating fines tied to the App Store rules. The company has been ordered, as we know, to revise its steering provisions, which prevent users from accessing third-party offers outside the App Store. Apple faces an initial fine, Joseph, of 500 million euros. Tell me that's not a cash grab, bro. With more penalties pending if compliance is delayed. Tell me you're broke without telling me you're broke, Europe. Concessions expected to include adjustments to the App Store and the controversial core technology fee for apps installed beyond the 1 million, that have 1 million installations. So that is the regulatory kind of antitrust angle. There's also another angle. It looks like they're getting into bed over here with Peter Chernan's North Road Studio, which used to work with Netflix. They signed a significant agreement with this dude and his company. This marks a clear move, apparently, by Apple to deepen its investment in the entertainment sector via Apple TV+. North Road, just to give you an idea who this studio is, they've made films like Ford versus Ferrari, Back in Action, and they made shows like The Madness and New Girl. I've heard of New Girl. I've never heard of The Madness, though. I don't know why I've heard of New Girl. The studio has also had prior ties to Apple. They produced C and Truth Be Told for Apple TV+. So that is the Apple headline. Anything you want to add before I go on?
Yeah, absolutely. So not necessarily Apple, but I heard over the weekend that Canada implementing the digital tax as well, too, something roughly around 4% on some of these big names.
Yeah. So now they're going to have
not as hefty as the EU and Germany. And,
you know what? I hope your boy Carney takes off.
Yeah.
That was that digital market, not digital markets act, but we can't see news stories on our Instagram anymore.
Yeah. It's a certain one. It's censored.
And explain this to me, bro. We can't see it on Instagram and Facebook, but they come in on X and TikTok.
But you still have access.
Like, how is that even fair for Instagram? It doesn't make any sense, dude.
So
what I'm talking about?
What bill is that?
I forget, but your buddy Trudeau passed it. So your friend Trudeau wanted the big tech companies like Google and Meta to pay the news sites that they were referencing. So for example, if CTV News, just giving you an example, posted something on Instagram, and you clicked it, they wanted the CTV to get paid by Meta. Meta and Google said, no, we're not doing it. Google apparently has some sort of deal with the government. Meta refused to make a deal. So, for example, if you follow any of the news sites on Instagram, like CNN or anything like that, you can't see what they get. You can't see what they're posting. It gives you a message saying, sorry, in your country, this stuff is blocked. Yeah, exactly. So I hope the new prime minister takes that off and gets rid of that legislation. Yeah. Anything you have before we go on?
No, that was it there. I'm in some Google here off of the lows. It is lagging its peers. I mentioned that NVDA did put in a new high of the day. The market put in a new high of the day. Bitcoin's heading towards that realm as well, too, guys. But the dead one, as we were just referencing, Sharif, a big-time move, starting to pull back here now. So maybe the punch on Google wasn't the best idea, but lagging. Let's see if we can get a bounce all the way back towards the volume-weighted average price. Thesis starts to work out. We're going to add into this position. So there it is. So that's what it is. I mentioned market new high of the day. Bitcoin's approaching that as well, too. And NVDA now breaking through that resistance zone.
Big down move today for Novo Nordisk, up to the tune of 5 3/4 right now, and it's off the lows. So Cargisema, which is one of their new drugs there for weight loss, delivered 23%, approximately 23% weight loss in obese adults and about 16% loss in overweight type 2 diabetics over a 68-week period. Despite the strong top-line results, the initial data release was disappointing to investors, causing obviously that sell-off there and a CEO shakeup last month. The full phase 3 trial results were revealed on Sunday, yesterday, in the American Diabetes Association meeting and published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The point is, the market didn't like it. It's down 5 3/4. We don't have to go through all the side effects and the safety profiles, but if you want, you can pause there. I'll scroll through it and you can read through it on your own. It's basically a combination of Wegovy and a different one, this one. So Wegovy and this drug right here, which I'm not going to try and pronounce. So it's a combination, and it apparently was well received, not too bad, but the market was expecting more. As a result, we sold off. So I'll just leave that one for you guys. OKLO as well, OKLO. We know Altman was involved in this one. This is the nuclear name that's creating advanced nuclear technology. This one also down aggressively to start, or not to start the day, but on the day, it's actually off the lows. 6.5% was down even more. The low today, we were down about 9.5%. It is SSR. So OKLO is SSR on the day, did trigger 10%. So Craig Hallum, analyst Eric Stein downgraded OKLO from a buy to a hold. From buy, despite raising the price target from 43 to 59. The revised rating reflects caution due to what he calls uncharted regulatory and operational road ahead, not immediate valuation concerns. So he's worried about future regulation, not about the valuation of the company currently. He says they're pursuing, OKLO that is pursuing a vertically integrated model. It will be both the nuclear tech provider and the project operator. We know that's good for margins, but this model is untested. The model targets AI data centers and other high-intensity applications. The issue here is OKLO has outlined an ambitious commercial deployment target of late 27 to early 28. The analysts note this time frame is unprecedented. No company has successfully taken this regulatory and operational path before, Joseph, and as a result, he's pricing in some risk.
Ooh, there we go. New traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform is everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data. Global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan that QR code or check the link in the description there, guys.
All right. Last but not least, do you have anything before I go on?
No.
The market's flying up, guys.
It is
the
really
NQ is now 1%, guys. So the NQ is now above 22,000. We're at 22,068. The buying is aggressive, so be careful. Shorts right now. 22,068, taking out that 22,000 point level on the NQ, which is now 1% in the green. The best performing major average on the day, followed by the ES up 0.75%. Yep. Last but not least here, Joseph. Hims and hers. Where are we at on this one, man? We were ugly to start.
30% at one point.
33.33%, Joseph. The blood is in the streets right now. Maybe I shouldn't smile so much when I say that.
Our guy Steve is in there. My guy Steve is, he's the...
Steve-O?
Steve, not Steve-O, no, from Jack.
I just like the look on your face there. I was trying to be all serious and you cracked up.
Not Steve-O, no, our guy Steve Thielman there.
Yeah.
The 2X.
Yeah. It's a tough look today. So apparently, Novo Nordisk, the company we were just talking about there not long ago, abruptly ended their collaboration with Hims and Hers, triggering what was in the pre-market a 20% drop. Add to that 13.75%. The partnership had expanded initially in April, so not that long ago, enabling telehealth access for Wegovy, which is Novo Nordisk's FDA-approved obesity drug, through the Hims platform. The membership, listen to this, man. The membership included all of Wegovy's dose strength, so you weren't pegged to one strength, bundled with the Hims and Hers membership for $600 a month. Now, you got some stuff with that. You got the drug, obviously, but you also got 24/7 care. You got nutrition support. You got clinical guidance, so that $600 a month was inclusive. That's the mother of all SaaSes right there. Just 6 bills for retail. That's not even B2B. That's B2C. That's ridiculous. So the bundled model was a central piece of HIM's push into the fast-growing weight loss market, and that has all been now put on the back burner because of this. So Novo Nordisk, they gave no detailed explanation for the sudden termination of the contract, leaving uncertainty around whether the regulator, strategic or supply chain factors were involved. The lack of transparency also spooked the hell out of investors. You can tell by the price action on the chart, with HIM shares reflecting concern over a weakened revenue pipeline, man. If you can't sell the drug that you're known to be selling, what the hell are you? What good are you?
What good
you know
are
what I mean?
you?
I just go around you, go to someone else.
Find
Like,
someone
what's
else.
the point? Like,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. No, valid point, Sharif. And kind of just to branch off it, but speaking of canceling deals, that Meta, Perplexity, very interesting stuff coming out. Yeah,
absolutely,
apparently it was mutual, them both walking away from that deal. So that was interesting to find out. But also the chief technology officer, Andrew Bosworth, has a military background, and we heard the likes of Meta also stepping into
that's crazy.
military.
That's a little bit crazy there with
So
Andrew.
the CTO having a military background.
Yeah, I want to see a little bit more details of how they actually execute that.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little Zuck now.
Zucky?
So Zuck's been doing some stuff.
Yeah.
He's been spending a little bit of money too.
Ooh, scale.
Just a little scale. Dude, he's trying to poach everybody. You heard about the 9 digits he's been offering some OpenAI
The executives
to leave,
Yep.
which they, according to Altman, they haven't taken.
digits?
Yeah, bro,
Wow.
over $100 million. He's offering them as signing bonuses.
Yeah, some big signing bonuses coming up from Zuck.
And he caught a couple of fish too. That Dan Friedman guy, maybe his name is wrong. I forget his name. Daniel something. Fact check me,
From
chat.
SSI?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know those guys. Yeah. Was it Safe Superintelligence?
So he's been making a bunch of acquisitions. We saw him trying to buy Ilya Sutskever's company, and Sutskever kind of gave him a gesture that we can't do on YouTube.
Ooh.
Yeah, Sutskever, you can tell he's not motivated by money here, right? Ilya Sutskever,
right?
yeah. So clearly Zuck is, I don't know what to make of this. Do you think he's in panic mode?
Zuck?
Because Llama 4 ended up being not what he thought it would be, or is he doing what anyone would have done, not in panic mode?
You know what? What I'm hearing, and I kind of agree with it. I think he's too smart. I don't think he's in panic mode, but it's more of a strategic roadmap.
Okay.
Right?
Fair.
I think that it's fair, right? We've seen the likes of the Scale AI deal now with SSI. I think it's more of a strategic roadmap that will eventually lead him to probably being one of the top.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Absolutely.
If this was just a technical move and he was executing in the way that companies should be executing by hiring the best talent, wouldn't he have done that
a long time ago?
Yeah. Before the whole Llama 4 thing came out and was, So that's one side. The other side is he's taken this open source approach to AI as opposed to, what's it called, OpenAI, which is closed source. Funny, the name is OpenAI. But he's kind of given you a bit of a limitation. So what do I mean by that? So if you want to use more than a certain amount of tokens on his Llama 4, you got to pay. So it's like, it's capped, it's free, it's open source to an extent. So is he kind of caught between two minds in the sense where you're not fully one thing and you're not fully the other? Maybe that's why you're not executing that well?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, one thing that I was thinking as well too, Sharif, with these like Scale AI, Perplexity, SSI, and all these, I don't want to call them startups anymore, but I think the ball is in their court because we've seen with the likes of Perplexity having talks with Meta and
100%
Apple.
agree.
But now it's like, okay, the ball being in their court, they can choose who they want to scale with. Whether it be the likes of Microsoft, Apple, Meta, Amazon, etc. So I think the ball is in a lot of these smaller companies.
Yeah, and it's like almost like the internet, like right when it's very early on, a lot of consolidation between the different service providers and all the different businesses that came with the internet. We got a lot of super chats here. We got to go through. Mark the Realtor, $199 dropping cash in the chat. Carvana, $330. Oh my God, Carvana's still going. That father and son duo is jokes. Let's have a look at CAVNA. Yeah, 323 high. Carvana, has kind of done nothing on the day, 0.87%. Not a bad look, though, on the daily. I'll show you Avana over here, just a little bit off highs. We put in all-time highs not that long ago, 350. It feels like it's just a matter of time until we take out that 350. You got to love that sell and the hold right at the 50 exponential. I mean, like literally on the dot. And that 50 exponential, look at that closing print back from that topping tail candle. That was earnings right there back in February. So the technicals on Carvana, chef's kiss. Let's keep going down over here. Vasil, $10 super chat. Oh yeah, so I'm trying to go through them. Hi guys, can you please check HIMS for me? I bought some this morning. Thank you. That's you right there, because I just went through it.
I mean, you bought some at what point this morning?
It's a good question.
Yeah, at what point did you buy some? See, that's the thing, right? One thing to note is that when you have such a negative catalyst, the market being forward-looking, you've seen that the market was pricing in this deal with Wegovy, and sorry, I was just slipping my mind, slight brain fart, but now it's starting to bake it out, okay? So take that into consideration. Is there going to be any continued strength? I don't know, because the market was moving based off of this catalyst, and then now it's not there anymore, right? So you can see a massive gap down. Like, we go by when there's blood in the streets, but when you remove such a large fundamental aspect of the company, I don't know if that's going to be the precise opportunity to do so. So again, be patient. At some point, this gap will get filled, in my opinion. It's just a matter of when, I guess, and that may take substantially longer than what you suspect. So HIMS, really, really tough look. Not something I'd be looking to dip by personally. It's not my wheelhouse, to be honest with you. I'm looking to dip by the names of like tech, have tons and tons of cash on hand. Google with that security breach, etc. So yeah, a really, really tough look there for HIMS, and be patient. This is a big engulfing candle, extremely bearish. One thing is that if you get an additional gap down, and then this is when I was referring to VPA signals, if you want to play technicals, wait for that, and then maybe you get a potential bounce, and then that's when I would look to take advantage of a bounce here in HIMS. So let's see what else we got. I got to see some, Joe, what do you think? What do I think about what, my friend? I didn't see anything that you posted in the chat. I'll go through some of these super chats here. I know Sharif's went through some. Sorry, I'm focusing on my trades right now. So let's see what we got going on. We went to HIMS. I don't see that anywhere. What do I think? Can you guys please check HIMS? Okay, so there we go. We went to Vasil's, and then we went CVNA, Carvana, Mark the Realtor, 305. What's up? Shout out FLA, Carvana Rocket Ship. Nice look. Yeah, let's pull up there. I'm pretty sure Sharif was already talking about CVNA. Carvana Rocket Ship. Let's pull this up here and see what we got going on from a 5-minute. I mean, what rocket ship is this? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see much of a rocket ship going on, but if you want to go from a daily standpoint, I remember trading this name when it was a couple dollars. Like, when did I start my journey over here in Deuce, we'll call it January of 22. Was it January 22? I don't even know anymore, man. Time just flies by, but I was trading it through this realm here. $5. Now this thing's $300 and something. Who would have thunk that a car vending machine company would essentially have this type of appreciation? So yeah, crazy stuff. Well, one more super chat Adara before sending you Aura. We're getting new meme coin. Oh, it's a meme coin. I can't even pull that up right now, but we'll take a look at it momentarily. Adara, what do you got for us?
What I have for you guys is more news coming out of the Middle East. Seeing apparently Donald Trump is monitoring potential Iranian retaliation against multiple U.S. bases in the region, in addition to Qatar, including Bahrain and Iraq, and possibly more locations. That's CNN reporting this, citing 2 White House officials. So again, U.S. apparently aware of and monitoring more potential retaliatory attacks from Iran onto these U.S. bases. Apparently, Kuwait is shutting down its airspace temporarily until further notice. Back to you.
So I have a bit of a theory. I was talking to Adara about it there when we took a break. So you know how oil sold off?
Sorry, repeat it one more time.
You know how oil sold off when we got the news that the United States was attacking?
Yes.
Or that Iran was responding back. So I think that the market, funny enough, believe it or not, like that. and that they fired missiles rather than blocking the Strait of Hormuz, which would have actually had an effect on the amount of oil.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Unless you're attacking oil fields, they're going to directly affect the actual output of the oil. I don't think oil goes up.
Yeah.
So I think that we sold off on the news that it was not the blocking of the Strait, rather it was a response via.
Very
yeah.
fair enough, because we know it's a strategic move around.
Absolutely.
That's all straight there.
Get it, Ob.
Get it, Obi.
All right, guys. So that's what we're keeping an eye on there. As time goes by, play OT again, Sam. Shout out to Eduardo, man. Eddie R, baby. All right, guys. I know I haven't been in a position for a while. We were doing the news, but I got to tell you, I don't like the look of any of these small cap gappers jib right now. And I'm looking at my new blotter for new ones that are really not coming in. I'm keeping an eye on some over here, but they're not doing enough volume. Just to leave you guys with a couple of good ones here, about 11 minutes left on the show. It's really IBO. It's maintained its level quite well. I mean, it didn't even get to VWAP. It hasn't touched VWAP since 8:10 this morning. It's been very strong. We had a bunch of trades on this one. It didn't quite make it down into that buck 33 where I had a resting order. It's also unable to take out that 195 double top that we put in earlier. The best opportunity we had was a few minutes ago at 181. Be on the lookout for that. It can take out the highs when we get more liquidity in that power hour. So IBO, certainly one to keep on watch. AIRO was another one that's had a decent day, up 25%, give or take. You okay there, girl? You're going to get a herniated disc. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah, you're done? My goodness. All right, guys, we're doing a lot of moving around. As you guys know, Studio 8 is quickly unfolding.
Obi's going back
and
there?
so, we've got a lot
there?
of stuff moving around over here. Yeah, Obi's going to the other side. I don't like that.
No.
But he's going to be with Brenkles and Wainers and stuff, so maybe he'll have a better time over there.
Hello from the other side.
That's what I call him. I call him Brenkles from the other side.
Yeah, hello from the man. Sharif, sorry to interrupt you, but look at your friend. Look at your boy CrowdStrike
What is it doing?
over here. Yeah, doing big boy things. CrowdStrike.
Why do you have to show me that?
Why?
It's panned up, that piece of crap. Where is it? Okay, well, it's at highs as well.
What is panned up doing?
It's at 203 and change.
We'll compare apples to apples here with panned up.
Dude, panned up is up. Hold on. No, pause. Time out.
Time out.
All right. So I'm going to shout out Adara here in a second, but Pan W is up 11.69% year to date. CrowdStrike, 43.7. Zscaler Adara, 72% year to date.
Get it, Zscaler.
She says, get it, Zscaler. Tell everybody why you're telling Zscaler.
I will. So, and if you guys do not know, I'm lucky enough to have a financial advisor. And so basically how this occurs is she will hit me up. She'll be like, I sent you some things. Do you like or do you not like? Now, right before, so while I was on my vacation, right before Zscaler earnings, she sends me Zscaler. And I take one look at that chart, and I am like, yes, Zscaler, 100%. Now Zscaler is up nicely. So shout out to Zscaler. Shout out to financial advisors everywhere, and go cybersecurity. Back to you.
Yeah, Adara's going to put her out of business in a little while.
Yeah, the financial.
Yeah. She's going to lose Adara's business really soon. AIRO, that's the one we were talking about. Let's keep going over here, Joseph, because we have a couple that could be possible good plays going into the afternoon. GEOS, another one. This one just lost the 10 and the 20, but it is holding above the volume weighted average price. It's spready, this one, so be careful with it. It's up a very respectable 43.25%. That's all the good news. The bad news is the volume. I mean, you can barely see a volume bar here, over 100,000 shares per 5-minute candle. So, exactly the amount of volume that we're getting it's a little light, okay? So that's what I'm looking at over here. Not much else is really holding up. INDO broke down, SY broke down, 9-inch nails as well, NIN. TPET as well was a really good one. That's also broke down below VWAP. And then SKIN it feels very flat top breaky through $2. So we'll keep taps on that. My man Rafael Hernandez, I think it is there. Your name's cut off. $20 super chat. QBTS long, 1444, up 30 and running. Let's go. Let's have a look at QBTS for the people, man. Shout out to Raphael, by the way, my man. That's money there on your part. Assassino, can we show the chart over here for our friend Raphael? Yeah, it's usually your fault, right, but it's okay. QBTS. Wow, Adara. Oh, that's all you heard from that exchange, eh, Adara? Okay. Yeah, QBTS.
Uh-oh, yeah, tell him, Adara.
Adara's getting.
Look at
Yeah,
this.
this is where she
strut,
was
too.
last time when she got when she was in the video. There was Obi. Was
So hold on,
enjoying myself.
Adara's tenure over there in the corner wasn't very. So
where are you moving?
Short-lived, wasn't it?
You're moving up there, eh? Okay. Oh, she's right there.
I love my new view,
That's
too.
fantastic.
I have a fantastic view right here now.
Assassino, are we able to show the new setup over here?
My new view.
So Adara's computer is going to be right there, and then Ram is going to be a little bit over there, which means that we won't be able to directly throw stuff at Ram.
Yeah, or
because
see,
Adara is going to be in the way.
Or
right?
give Adara the stink eye when she comes in on the
you can
Trump
give her the
every
stink
day.
eye. I'm not giving her the stink eye.
I apologize already. I didn't mean that. I take it back.
All right, guys, QBTS, fantastic look, guys. Let's look at the daily on this one because I think this, oh, there it is. So Ram's desk is going to be the one on the right, and then that's Adara's desk with the screensaver right there. That's Ram's hand pointing, by the way. And so we're moving over here because everything back here is going to get renovated and it's going to be chaotic. So this is actually a stage that we're on. So if you can show, this is a stage right there. You can kind of see the platform over here, how it, where was my hand? There it is. Right there, there's the ground, there's the stage. So we're going to be actually demolishing this stage that we're on, but we're going to move everything here first, get everything there done, and then we demolish the stage. So
it's stage demolition. You and I here, Katina Man, Neil,
yeah,
right there.
I think the Katina Man, Neil, yourself, and myself, we're going to move in tandem because the way that the show's set up.
Yeah.
And then, it's going to be in a way where we're going to have the big desk with Adara right in front of us, so that everybody's interacting with everybody, and we can all see each other at the same time.
That's exactly what we need there.
Sir. So thank you, Raphael, for that. Yeah, QBTS, I perceive this as being another bull flag. So we're kind of the breakout there back on the 5th of May. And since that time, we've been kind of putting in lower highs, but we've been holding generally on QBTS, I want to say around 14 to 15. So it does feel very flat bottom breakish in the sense that we're holding that 15, 14 level with lower highs. But the secular trend for QBTS kind of has me thinking a bit differently here, that this could just be money grabs at 14, give or take, and then we can kind of bull flag or break the top end of the bull flag, which seems to be about $20 or so. So shout out to that.
Yeah.
Anything there you got?
Yeah. I want to cover some stuff here, guys. I want to talk a little swing trading here for a couple minutes. We only got a couple minutes left, so maybe we'll absorb that with some swing trading. All right. Now, let's just refer to, I'm going to reference what I'm in, my positions, etc. Full disclosure, you guys know my swing trades. I tell you all the time, I don't hide anything. So, all right, NVDA. Let's see what we got going on from a daily standpoint, all right? So a lot of us are in speculation that at some point and relatively soon, NVDA is going to break that all-time high. Considering that we've essentially been in a consolidation for the better part of, we'll call it when it starts here in May of 2024, all right? So it's relatively lengthy, trading within a specific range. We know after that split, it traded at around $100. I mean, it's gone up 50% here, come down to that break even roughly. But I believe at some point, and I was waiting for more of a healthy pullback, but what we're seeing displayed with this news over in the Middle East, there might be enough liquidity absorbed in order for us to make that move higher. Sorry, 1 second, Adara. And then also when we reference the options chain and how we had those high concentrations of open interest through certain strikes, and now they're starting to be lifted, I think that's going to give some nice a path of least resistance for NVDA to make a push. So what do we do if we want to leverage our system and make a move for that high, but that all-time high, and then the break of it, you go as far as your capital will allow you to in expiration, and you buy those longer, even leaps in NVDA, looking for that move towards 153. Do you go out the money? No. I'm going to say no. I'm going at the money because I want to have the ability to have the full appreciation within my delta and my gamma and be least affected by the depreciation of in the money contracts and out of the money contracts. So that is my trade thesis. I like NVDA for that break in the foreseeable future. How long, time will tell. But if we break through that 148 level, I think we're looking pretty good. Sorry to keep you waiting, Adara. What do you got for us?
Update here on what's happening in the Middle East. We do have, a U.S. military official saying to Reuters that there were no U.S. casualties reported after Iran's attack on the Al Udeid air base in Qatar with short and medium-range missiles. They also said that there was no Iranian attack recorded at any other U.S. base, so it was only the attack in Qatar. It's also worth noting here, apparently an energy intel reporter is posting on X that traffic in Hormuz, or the Hormuz Strait there, is unaffected. So keep an eye here on the market and oil as we continue to digest news coming out of the Middle East. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Also, the New York Times also reporting that Iran informed Qatar, the Qatari government, ahead of the missile strikes on the U.S. air bases there, giving them advance warning, apparently to reduce casualties. So it feels like, just getting that strike out of the way so they can kind of say, hey, we responded.
We retaliated.
I'm happy that the strait wasn't blocked, because if the strait was blocked, likely we would probably see 10, 15 pennies added to the price of gas here, which is already up, to be fair. What was it at near your place? Because now it's like 143.
I put 94 in, so $1.70 something.
Just like the headline number is what I'm saying. You're putting 94 in your car?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's insane, bro. I put 91, man.
No way, dude.
91, my boy.
That's crazy.
Why would I put 94? It says to put 91.
It lasts longer. No way you're...
We've had this discussion. I'm not putting 94.
Why?
That's insane that you're putting
longer.
Like, you get better gas mileage?
Absolutely.
I might run that test if there's something behind that.
I promise you. I promise. Okay, so I'll go back. I know it's 2 o'clock.
That's fine.
So from my first...
The Katina man said I'll get more mileage.
Yeah, you absolutely do. It's
How
worth
much,
it.
though?
It's worth it.
Is it like worth the price difference?
From when I owned a Dodge Avenger, this was back in the early teens, I was putting 93, 94 in it.
You're a madman,
Yeah, because it lasts longer. And then I also did an experiment between the big three, Esso, Shell, and Esso, Shell, and Petro. And? Esso's the best.
Esso's the best?
Yeah, in my opinion.
I don't mind that. They have optimum.
Imperial,
that's XLE. Oh, it's Imperial Oil, baby.
I think that looked like an agreement, or...
Well, the Katina man no longer puts gas.
Oh, yeah, hey.
It's all over.
There you go. It's full, man.
All right, guys.
Esso.
It's 2:01:15. All right, guys. We are having a great time with you guys, but it is all over for today. Joseph and I will be back. We're going to be same time, same bat channel. I'm going to send you guys over to the big kahunas. I'll see everybody at the green screen shortly. Peace.
Yeah, I was just saying I get nervous when I go down there and I see Ramin's like huge truck parked beside the Tesla. I'm like, oh man.
Bigfoot.
I hope never got, that's what I think about, like getting crunched.